Welcome in. Jesse's gone to get cake. Right, it's Jesse's birthday. Unbelievable. I didn't even know. It. Eating the hot dog cake. Here's the deal, everybody. Does Undying have DLC? No, it doesn't. It hardly even had an end. Tonight, for the people that are here from the raid or for the people that are just here from being here, we're continuing the house in Fata Morgana. A full-length visual novel. And by full-length, I mean it's like a 30-plus hour thing. And we're about, 17, 18 hours into it. We're in it. We're deep. We're deep in the muck. We're like waist high right now. Chest high. We've gone through a lot. For those that haven't seen this game before, this is largely just advancing text. It is a true through and through visual novel. And thank you. I gotta get that. Let me get the first playthrough and let me get the advisory up. It is a story about waking up in an old, empty mansion. You know, it's kind of run down, kind of gross. And you wake up in this chair that you see on the right-hand side, and there's only one person also in the mansion, and it's this maid who you see on the left-hand side. And she starts calling you master. And we're like, what the hell? What do you mean master? We don't even know who we are. And you're like talking to us like master. And she goes, oh, you've lost your memory. Okay, let me help you. Let me take you through this mansion because a lot of misfortune has happened in this mansion. And maybe by looking into the history, you can learn who exactly you are. So the goal is to find out who we are as a player by looking back into the past of what has occurred in this house. Yeah, learning from history? Come on, give me a fucking break. We have been through 3 full doors. The first door brought us to the 1600s, or maybe it was the 1400s, whatever. Same thing. Where we followed 2 young kids when the house was big and beautiful, and they called it the Rose Manor. And every story has the maid, who seems to transcend time and space. And every story has a beautiful white-haired girl. Long, sometimes short, white hair, piercing ruby eyes, and she seems to be the one that brings with her this misfortune. In multiple stories, she has been labeled a witch. In multiple stories, she has been, kind of the source of hostility or the victim of hostility from people in the story. So we've seen 3 things. We've seen Rose Manor with 2 young kids. We have seen a rundown era where no one lived in the mansion but one beast who resided underneath the mansion in the cellar. And we learned about Bestia and we learned about the beast's story. And the third story was the 1800s in an age of technological innovation and, fast, rapid tech advancements. And we followed an investor named Jacopo, who was a member of the mob, was kind of an asshole. And in this story, the white-haired girl was his wife, and when he believed that she was being unfaithful, he locked her away in a shed out back. And we kind of watched the tragedy that unfolded when we learned that the one character, the maid of the house, a girl named Maria, who we thought was, kind and helpful and there for the white-haired girl, was actually double-crossing both Jacopo and the white-haired girl and had it all out for herself as revenge on some mafia shit. So we've went through these 3 doors. We have not learned who we are. And now we are about an hour into the last door that the maid has for us. The last door takes place in 1099, I believe. Like 1000, like the Middle Ages or whatever ages that is, Dark Ages, Middle Ages, I don't know time. And it's a very pulled back story. It is the story of a man, Michel, who carries this curse, or so he says, and the white-haired girl who wound up at the doorstep of this mansion, scared because the people outside and the people in the surrounding towns are labeling her a witch. And she asks Michelle, she says, can I just, lay low here and kind of live here? I have nothing else for myself. And Michelle goes, I mean, sure, but just know I'm cursed. And eventually my curse will get you. And you will die as a result of this curse. And she's like, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. People call me a witch and it's not real. I'm not too worried about your curse. Just don't stress out. Mind your own, right? Mind your own business. Don't worry about what I'm doing. You focus on you and you get this money. And so that's where we're at. The two of them are not quite friends. Beat 2 Bloodborne bosses tonight. Time to tuck into Fata Morgana. That is the perfect thing you could have said. Not quite friends. Not quite enemies. Just roommates at this point. Just roommates. Both living there. We have the white-haired girl who is trying to convince Michelle to become a friend, and Michelle who's kind of just, not having it. We also learned that the white-haired girl's name is Giselle. That also happened. I just remembered that. So, we really don't have anything else to do here besides start this thing. I do want everybody to know, when we start this, I'm kind of in reading mode a little bit, and this is not a very, interactive back and forth stream. This is a Sunday night wind down, enjoy the story, kick back, and if you're new here, you'll be able to catch on pretty quick. It's largely told through dialogue between 2 characters, and the themes and the story, let's see if we beat this tonight. That's not gonna happen. I know for a fact that's not gonna happen. Can you imagine? Listen, Draconics, we have 15 hours left at least of this. This is going through the end of 2022. So there's no time like the present. 7:55, starting a little bit early here. The House in Fata Morgana, episode 8. Jumping back into door 4. House in Fata Morgana speedrun any percent, just spamming X. Before we start, this is a very, very, very heavy story. This is a very intense story here. I just want everybody to know, before we kick things off, a lot of very traumatizing situations present themselves in this story. A lot of reprehensible actions the characters either commit or are victim to. It is a story about processing that trauma, seeking your acceptance, and finding someone to love in the face of a very, very harsh and unforgiving world. However, if any of this becomes too much, if even reading it feels like too much, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. I'm playing other games as the week goes on. We're playing Castlevania on Wednesday now, and Alien Isolation on Tuesday and Thursday. This is definitely not for everyone, but I can say myself, I find it to be a very impactful story, even so far. Very, very well written. The characters are well written and well rounded, and I'm excited to see where it goes. I know it's going to go places. So, if at any time you kind of feel like you're in over your head, I get it. Bow out. Say, hey, I'm out of here. Have a lovely night. Or don't. Just dip. No worries to me. We're going to dive into things here. In the midst of door 4, last time we played this, October 9th, 1 week ago today. No, wait a minute. No, we're fine. We're fine. That's not, I had one more save here. Okay. Okay. All right. Oh, I thought we missed it. Thought I messed up. Right. This is where we're getting the source of the curse. He just got delivered the DoorDash, remember? Many things are buried here. Huh? Mice, insects, wild cats, and dogs. Have you ever thought it strange how little life there seemed to be around this mansion? You're right. I haven't seen a single creature since I arrived. The only sound you can hear is the wind blowing. Now that you mention it, it did seem peculiar. They were all killed by me. Or rather, they lost their lives because of me. You have your answer now. A butterfly fluttered its way into the ruined garden, dancing up and down through the air. Michel held out a finger before himself, and the butterfly, mistaking it for a branch, drifted down upon it to rest its wings. Had the scene stopped there, it would have been a picturesque moment. All that comes in contact with me loses its life. My skin, the breath I exhale, my flesh and blood is poison to all life. But the butterfly's movements began to slow. It spread its wings in one last futile attempt to fight gravity, and then without warning, it shriveled up into a dry husk. It's dead. All dried up and lifeless. Like it's been dead for days. It's like his finger drained all the life out of it. Is this his curse? Is that even possible? But I saw it with my own eyes. If this is his curse, though, it explains much. There are more than just insect and animal corpses buried here, too. Servants who came to visit me long ago are here? Beneath the ground? Under our very feet? That's why the servant leaves before I open the door. Should he touch me, should he even get near me, his very life is in danger. No one is interested enough in seeing me to take that risk. No one will have anything to do with me. Nary a soul even wishes to see my face. Now you understand what I meant when I said I would eventually kill you. So that's why you've never once touched me. When I knocked the books down in the library, you didn't offer your hand to help me up. And only one of us ever made contact with the box at the entrance at a time. When I offered to help you carry it, you refused. Because you didn't want your finger to accidentally brush against mine. My actions were not out of concern for you. I simply dislike people. Others' interests mean nothing to me. What an odd face you're making. So he basically has like the Pushing Daisies thing. Remember that show? Pushing Daisies, where the guy touched somebody once and they came back to life, and if he touched them again, they died again. Do you not believe my curse is real? No, I do. It's certainly irrational, inexplicable, unbelievable. But you've shown me more than enough evidence. And I don't believe you're lying to me right now either. In which case, you now understand how dangerous it is to be near me. You said that if you left, you would be killed. But it's been some time since then. If you're careful to cover your tracks, you could make your escape. You do not belong here. He was telling the truth about being cursed. What a cruel burden to have to bear. I can't imagine just how much he's given up on. How many lives he's inadvertently taken, and how he must have felt every time it happened. How much pain that loneliness must have given him. How much despair he must carry in his heart. How much sorrow must be weighing down on him. So no, I will not leave. I will stay here with you. Leave this place. No, I will not. Why? Why do you insist upon remaining in this house after learning what I can do? You have no reason to stay. Tell me then, why do you try to drive me out? If you don't care for others as you say, if you're not concerned about anyone else, then what does it matter what I do? What does it matter if I die to your curse? You're a very kind-hearted man. You've been watching out for me since the day I arrived, doing whatever you can to not inadvertently kill me, to not afflict me with your curse. No. Here's what I think. No one capable of showing genuine care for others can honestly, truly dislike all people. They can't possibly be indifferent. No, That day we met, before the stained glass window, you heard me out. You listened to my plight. You didn't try to chase me out. That day, I thought you to be a good person, and I still believe that. I simply assumed you would leave on your own when it was safe. I never thought you would be so foolish as to want to stay in a house like this, with a man like me. How does that make me foolish? Do you not value your life? Are you not afraid of death? Do you not find me unpleasant? The thing I fear most is loneliness. You're probably right that by now I could safely sneak away, get myself somewhere far from here, but even if I did, I would inevitably find myself in the same situation. The only way I can avoid that fate is to stay away from everyone, to live in solitude with no one to talk to. I know you understand how that feels. It terrifies me. I'm afraid of having to spend day after day with no one to talk to, no one to share my experiences, my thoughts, my feelings with. If that's what awaits me out there, then I want to live with you. I want you to be an essential part of my life. Impossible. Please, don't chase me out. You are a cruel girl. Never again will I allow myself to get close to someone, only to watch them die. Never again. My mother was the first to die. It happened shortly after my birth. Next, my wet nurse. 2 deaths could be considered a coincidence, but as the number rose, it became clear that I was cursed, and I was forbidden from making contact with anyone, even at home. Regardless, being in the same house, accidents will happen. Numerous people lost their lives. Attendants unfamiliar with me, or those who simply brushed up against me by mistake. I couldn't take it any longer. So you chose to move here, to this remote mansion, to keep yourself away from your family. You weren't imprisoned here. You elected to live alone so you wouldn't hurt anyone. For better or for worse, I was born into a noble house. So rather than abandon me, they've provided me the means to live out of sight. I will be very careful. I'll do everything I can to ensure no accidents occur, to keep you from being alone again. I will not for any reason touch you. You have my promise. Your curse takes the life of anything you touch. I've been here a while, and death has not befallen me yet. As long as I do not touch you, there shouldn't be a problem. Also, I apologize if this is simply me reading too much into things, but I feel like we're two of a kind. I fear being utterly alone more than anything, and I think you understand just how scary that is. Yeah, he's got cooties. He's got like clinical cooties, a serious case, a terminal case of the cooties. So, why are you so stubbornly insistent on it being me? I'm sure there's someone else out there, someone you're meant to be with. You may not have found them yet, but I believe someone like you eventually will. Because unlike me, you still have the vigor to press forward. It has to be you. I'm certain of it. Why? Because, well, You can't tell me? No, I can, just, please don't get upset with me. I think I might really, really love you. Whoa. There we go. But like, what if he pets a doff? That's what I was thinking. That dude pets one doff and that doff is out. His was a power that evoked images of witches or demons, the unclean and the impure. A mere touch was all it took for him to strip man and beast alike of its life. God has a cruel streak to bestow such a power upon such a beautiful young man. And a strange power it was indeed, like something out of a fairy tale. Like something confined to words upon a page, it seemed otherworldly, unbelievable. Nonetheless, as he had demonstrated to the white-haired girl, his peculiar powers were indeed real. That said, the world has its fair share of oddities. It just so happens that those curiosities tend to remain hidden away, known only to a few. Although, you have laid eyes upon a number of unusual phenomena yourself, Master. The doors to the past through which we have passed, that was a nice line, this very mansion, and as a matter of fact, the two of us. Now, as you just saw, the white-haired girl found herself enraptured with this man and his accursed power. How do you think Michelle acted in response to her proclamation? He had spent so long refusing to interact with others, no, unable to interact with them. As such, he was unsure how to respond. After standing there expressionless for a few moments, he muttered, "I'll consider it." And with that, he returned to his chambers. While he was not someone who wore his heart on his sleeve, I personally do not believe he was completely devoid of emotions. He had simply forgotten how to express them in his extended solitude. So I think he was, in that moment, in a state of complete panic. She had, after all, just assaulted him with a stream of incomprehensible declarations. That, knowing the truth, she still wished to remain in the mansion, and that, knowing the truth, she loved him. The love she had declared for Michelle was not a fleeting puppy love. There was a genuine tenderness and warmth to her words. But he had gone through life shunned, feared, pushed away. To him, that was normal. He had never given anyone reason to have any fondness for him, so he found himself utterly unsure how to take the affection she was showing. Of course, he was not the only one rattled by the whole affair. Oh, dear. Several days had passed since Michelle had asked for time to think. He had still yet to show himself again. Oh, this is all my fault. The white-haired girl paced anxiously through the halls on the off chance she might run into him. As per his request, though, she kept her distance from his chambers. Nevertheless, she was beginning to worry about the fact that he had secluded himself away for so long. So she worked up her courage and made her way to his room. What if he doesn't want to see me ever again? I didn't consider I might be overstepping my bounds before opening my mouth. Every step she took was slow and laborious. Her mind raced with worry and doubt. I should at least tell him I'm sorry. Rather than out of a desire to know how he felt, she was compelled by guilt and a desire to apologize. Why that frog so mad, though? After walking for some time, she arrived at a door sitting in an utterly unlit hallway. She drew in a breath of musty air, then let it out, repeating the process several times. Next, she reached her hand up to knock on the door, then pulled it back, also doing this a number of times. Oh, how adorable she was. I wanted nothing more than to give her a little nudge. After all, she was too sweet a girl for her worries to be anything but misplaced. I just can't find the courage. Maybe I should come back another day. But what's the point of waiting? I need to apologize and get the weight off his back now. She gathered her courage once more, this time determined she would do it. The white-haired girl moved her small fist toward the door, which then swung open. I'm sorry. Please, you must announce your presence. I almost walked right into you. Earth Nuggets almost called it. Are you in that much of a hurry for a mishap? I'm sorry. And I believe I told you to stay away from my chambers. You did, so I spent a long time debating whether I would, but I decided I really wanted to tell you this. Oh, well, actually. I'm truly sorry. What? The other day, I could barely manage to get the words in my head all the way to my mouth. There was no room in my mind for anything else. I shoved my own thoughts and feelings into your face, not considering that might not be what you wanted. Just running, non-stop, not thinking at all. I was terribly disrespectful to you, completely selfish. You're a kind-hearted man, I truly believe that. But you are only being courteous because you're a nice man. I'm sure you have little interest in the affections of a queer little girl. So, I would love it if I could stay here. It would be a wonderful blessing. But if you really don't want me here, if my feelings are imposing upon you, then I apologize. I'm sorry, and I'll take my leave of this house. I'm sorry. Don't be. My mind went blank for a moment. What? I find it difficult to comprehend you. The other day you were firm in your intentions to stay, and now you say you'll leave without a struggle? You holed up in your room for so long that I thought you didn't want me around. To be honest, I want to stay here, I do. I think you should do whatever pleases you. Huh? You can stay, or you can leave. I will not pressure you to do one or the other. So I'm not imposing. To tell you the truth, I had to think about that for some time. However, I have now come to something of a solution. Since you're here, come into my room. What? But I thought I wasn't allowed to prevent what almost happened a few moments ago, so we don't accidentally run into each other. Sorry. Is that why he has long hair? Because no one can cut it. Yo, that's a cool theory. Yeah, look at his long flowing locks. all the way down. You're forgiven. Now, come in. Is this a necklace? If that's what it looks like to you, then I suppose that means I've succeeded. Pick it up. It has a little bell. It's adorable. Please make an effort to wear that while you're in the house. Because it's so dark, there will always exist the risk that we might accidentally bump into one another. So I tried to come up with a way to reduce that risk. Does that mean you didn't leave your room because you were working on this? That's right. What other reason would I have? I think most people would assume it was because they had put you in a bad mood or that you didn't want to see them. I have little sense of how most people see the world. Sorry. I appreciate it, though. Yeah, if he tries to cut his own hair, the scissors die. Exactly. They just, like, crumble. The metal just crumbles away. I'm really glad to know that you put so much thought into a life together with me. It would be difficult not to, after the other day. I'm so happy right now. I can't think of any better word to describe it. I couldn't be happier. You're being dramatic. To tell you the truth, I feel a little bad about it. Why? It seems rather impertinent to affix a bell to someone. You're not livestock. You're a person. Earth Nuggets called out. Michelle just turned, fourth wall breaking, right at Earth Nuggets. That's why you turned it into a necklace? Thank you very much. I'll keep it on me at all times. I really truly appreciate it, Lord Michelle. Don't call me Lord, please. All right then, Hey, don't touch me, man. Hey, whoa. Take a step back, buddy. I'll just call you Michelle. And will you please call me Giselle? The windows. What? If we could open the windows. Never mind. I was just thinking you wouldn't need the bell at all if we could get some light in here. They can't be opened? They're rusted shut. All the windows have been shuttered for as long as I've been here. I assumed you had boarded them all up. That was done long before I ever arrived. After so many years here, though, I hardly consider it an inconvenience anymore. It also serves to repel wanderers. Oh, really? Is there something odd about that? No. It's just, I realized I had the wrong impression about a number of things. As I learn more, I see things in a different light. See you in a different light. And I'm sure there's still plenty more for me to learn. Of all the people I have ever met, you are perhaps the most difficult to predict. Not only do you have no aversion to the darkness, The dark has always been a close friend of mine. Which isn't to say I dislike the sun, light can simply be a bit too strong for me. I'm like some kind of unholy monster that can't be exposed to sunlight. You're anything but unholy. My name would suit you much better than me. What was that flash? Was that the computer freaking out? What the hell? We gotta go. That day when I first saw Giselle, I was wary of her. Apprehensive. I didn't want her anywhere near me. But as my doubts about her faded, I began feeling something very different, as though the lump in my heart had been melted away. I began to yearn for her to be at my side, knowing full well it couldn't possibly last, knowing full well how foolish it was. I found myself captivated by her. I found myself wishing to have her stay with me. Dude, Franco's probably grinning from ear to ear right now. Like he has crucial knowledge that we don't. And we're all over here like, what the fuck? And Franco's like, yes, yes, yes. And that marked the true beginning of their quiet days together in the dark mansion. They acknowledged and accepted each other's presence, no longer isolating themselves, but actively, regularly, exactly, the sickos. I'm glad that Bloodberry Tart has a sickos emote. That's a great one. As mundane as it might seem, it was always something they had been unable to attain until then. Nevertheless, they were still somewhat fumbling around in the dark with one another, drawing closer and pushing away again. Right, that's Franco right now. Carl smile. Michel, in his own ungraceful way, was beginning to open himself up to the things she said, and the white-haired girl was beginning to smile with greater frequency. They had taken to dining together, and her wish of learning to read was being granted. He taught her in the feeble light of a candle placed upon the table, the two sitting across from one another. Though Michel seemed to be well educated, he had not been instructed in the art of teaching, so he found the process quite grueling. But to the white-haired girl, the longer it took, the better. Her primary objective was, after all, to spend time with him. The days passed, and eventually she reached the point where her comprehension was adequate enough without assistance. Her next request, then, was for them to read through a book together. Have you read every book in the library? No, I stopped looking at them after a while. Most everything I'm sent is dull, uninformative dreck. The diary of a lord, foolish, make-believe tales. You're not fond of fiction, I take it? What value is there in lies and fantasies of another? Stories can be invigorating. Tales of adventure can take you places you could never go. Legends of heroes, folklore, stories of otherworldly phenomena. They can be terrifying, and they can be exhilarating. They may not be real, but they could give you a little glimpse into the author's heart and let you feel like you're seeing the same thing they saw. You are a very empathetic girl. Fiction inspires nothing of the sort in me. However, perhaps long ago it may have been able to, though I can no longer remember what it feels like. I'm sure it'll come back to you. You're not an empty man. Sorry, I'm making you uncomfortable again. How about we read this book today? Oh, I like this a lot. That's a nice one. And you got the ivy from the logo up top there, like imposed in the bottom, like a reverse shadow. It appears to be a collection of legends. You haven't read this one yet, then? That's good to hear. It'll be more enjoyable if it's a new experience for the both of us. It looks like it's a record of local legends. The book is divided into several sections, though it appears to be mostly superstitions. I am curious what kind of stories this area has. The two of them were looking down at a simple, undecorated volume. As the white-haired girl had said, it seemed to be a collection of local legends passed down generation to generation. They sat across from one another at the table, her turning the pages and Michelle simply watching so as not to brush against her. Eventually, her eyes were drawn to a particular word on one of the pages, bringing her hands to a stop. The witch. That chapter detailed the story of a witch, or, more precisely, said witch's curse. The story went something like this. Oh, cool, here we go. There once was a witch, skilled in the dark arts. She lived a meager but peaceful life alongside the other villagers. But then, a long, long drought struck the village, which the people blamed on the witch. The witch was sentenced to death, and as the fire blazed around her, smoke rose high into the air. The smoke soon became rain clouds, blessing the village with an end to the drought. The crops were revitalized, and the villagers fancied themselves heroes. However, the rain also brought madness upon the people. Though the earth below them was lush and fertile, the villagers were losing their minds, and they eventually began to take each other's lives. The witch still lived on, in the form of a curse. Many fell victim to the witch's curse. Though it did not only take, it also fulfilled people's desires. The villagers had gone mad, but their wish for freedom from the drought had been granted. Thus, the legend has been passed down as follows. The witch will grant your wish in exchange for a great sacrifice. As smoke in the sky, she watches down upon us from above. To reach the witch, climb for the heavens, but know that the road is a road to destruction. People still believe the witch's legend even now, I suppose. And that's why I face accusations of being the witch. This is not an area very welcoming to outsiders, especially one who stands out as much as you. What brought you to this region in the first place? Mine is a story I'm sure you've heard before. I was cast out of my house. I come from a very poor family. We could barely even afford to keep everyone fed. Being as weak as I am, it was only natural that I would be the first to go. I see. What I don't understand, though, is why the witch is said to grant people's wishes. That is to say, she had reason enough to hold a grudge, but not to give people things they asked for. All we have to go on is a few pages. There's no saying what might have changed or been added over time, and it's almost certain the entire legend isn't even written here. I'm always granting witches. That said, if we are to accept everything as written, you can infer what the witch's reason might have been. And that is, if you truly want it that much, you can have it, but I'll make certain your suffering outweighs it. Despair that comes after a moment of happiness is far more agonizing than despair alone. I presume that is why the witch decided to grant people's wishes. That is one way to look at it. May I ask you something? Go on. When I first arrived here, you told me that a cursed witch used to live in this mansion. After reading this legend, I'm now finding it hard to believe you made that up simply to scare me away. I appropriated the tale. Nothing more. It is said the witch was born in this house. What? Quite the place my family found for me. But it was a clever decision putting me here, I think. Not many people are likely to come near a house with such a pedigree. But... no, never mind. That makes sense. I suspect I know what she was going to say then. If the witch is said to grant wishes, then wouldn't that also attract people who so desperately want something they do not care about what price they must pay? Perhaps she was correct. Perhaps there had been those who had come to the mansion chasing after legend, and perhaps they had encountered Michel, touched him, and lost their lives. On that day in the garden, he had said, "Many things are buried here." Perhaps that included such visitors. I wonder if that story might be more than mere superstition. If the witch of legend really did exist, what would you do? It might be nice to talk to her, maybe. That's all? Really? I feel a little bad for her, though. The only people who ever visit her are there to ask for something, after all. I can only imagine just how lonely that must be. I swear I cannot comprehend the way your mind works. Sorry. Although, if we assume the legend is true, I have an idea what climb for the heavens might mean. Oh? The mansion has an observation tower, or I suppose what used to be an observation tower. At any rate, it is quite a tall structure. This is the house where the witch was supposedly born. A tower reaching for the heavens seems like the perfect place to find her, if she really is here. Oh, yes. I remember seeing a rather tall structure as I first approached the mansion. Would you like to see it? Of course. Please lead the way. The two of them left the library and made their way to the room with the stained glass window. At the far end of that room were the stairs to the observation tower. The tale of the witch had piqued the white-haired girl's interest, inspiring her to put herself forward to satisfy that curiosity. She had, after all, been accused of being a witch herself, so she undoubtedly felt an affinity to the legend. What a sweet girl she was. Nice. Nice. Up and up and up and up and up. With Michelle in the lead, the two climbed a long, long spiral staircase. There were many more stairs than the white-haired girl had anticipated, and she soon found herself short of breath. Rectangular windows were carved out of the stone in regular intervals. Peering through one of them, she could see a village in the distance. A pleasantly cool, high-altitude breeze brushed across her face. After much climbing, they finally arrived at the top, where a door made of partially rotted wood stood. Michelle pulled open the door, revealing a small room with no windows or doors in sight. Yeah, Michelle spread his arms wide like an eagle and jumped, flipping forward twice before landing in a pile of hay. This is the top of the tower? Despite it being called an observation tower, you could hardly observe anything from here. Her face contorted in confusion. The white-haired girl threw her gaze about the room. Glancing up, she saw only a darkened ceiling, and slightly below it, a single, small window through which shone a little ray of light. Hey, we've seen this before. The beam cleaved through the darkness like a sharpened blade of a beautiful sword. The darkness draped over the rest of the room only served to make more impressive that solitary ray of light. It had a magical fairy tale quality to it. As if being pulled in by it, she drew toward the light. I suspect there was once a large window in this room. If you look closely, you can see seams in the stone of the wall. The color of the stone differs slightly on either side of the seams. I presume something caused them to seal off the window after it was built, though I don't know what that something might be. Yo, there she is. Hi. When Michelle's eyes fell upon the white-haired girl wrapped in that beam of light, he sputtered to a stop. The man who never flinched at anything, who had long since distanced himself from such stirrings of the heart, was utterly bewitched. He had never seen her illuminated so vividly before, and he was having a great deal of trouble finding the words to describe her striking beauty. For someone who had been chased out of her home and accused of being a witch, the white-haired girl looked less like a practitioner of the dark arts, and more like one of the host of heaven. Michelle undoubtedly felt the same way, for his gaze was affixed firmly upon her. Dazzling, isn't it? Like a staircase leading to heaven. Yes, perhaps so. Is something the matter? No, I'm fine. You know, it feels like there's something odd in the air here. It feels like someone actually might be listening. If the witch were able to speak to you, what would you say to her? I would ask her to tell me her true feelings, to tell me what kind of person she was and what kind of pain she had to endure. I just want to know what she felt. This woman people branded a witch. The legend was written from a neutral perspective. It's possible she was a fearsome witch. It's also possible she wasn't. I get the feeling she was just persecuted. Like me. Like me and you. Unlike you, I truly am impure. That witch's name was Gandalf the Grey, and then it just becomes Lord of the Rings 4. Disagree all you want, but my touch kills. I'm a strange, incomprehensible, irrational creature. I haven't seen Two Towers or Return of the King. I don't know if Gandalf the Grey makes it. I know there are two of them. I know there's Gandalf the White. Is that... Never mind. Don't get into it. I don't really care that much. Or maybe I'm not even a living thing. And that's why, when I touch something that is, I bring them death. Hi, Bahuma. What's up? I know you were here for the marble rolls, but hey. The fellowship walking off was enough for me. I don't know. It's a great conclusion. It is. And I always get the drive to watch them. I've talked about this so many times. I have the 4K Blu-ray box set. I have the whole box set. I have the whole box set, and I've only ever watched the first one. All I know about, right, Gandalf the Gazangas. Gazanga the Grey. If only I actually were a witch. If only I actually had some kind of extraordinary power, regardless of whether it came from God or the devil, then I would be able to grant people's wishes. My wish need not be granted. But it's what I want too. I wish to be able to touch you. I would be perfectly content with nothing changing, with us never being able to touch one another. I would be more than happy with that. But I'm allowed to dream, aren't I? It doesn't have to be in this life. I pray the day will come that we can get closer, even if it has to happen in another life. Happiness is very much a stranger to me, but am I allowed to dream too? You are. I will never touch you, I swear it. But I would like to dream about it. I would like to imagine placing my hand upon your cheek. Now they're just sexting, except they're like right next to each other. You can. Reach your hand out for me. This is so horny. I'll imagine it too. I'm imagining your fingers running through my hair, brushing up against my skin. I can feel your warmth. There was a wall between them, a wall they could not cross, for if they did, it would mean the white-haired girl's death. No matter how much they yearned for it, they could not touch one another. So they did so within the confines of their imagination, envisioning it in as much detail as they could manage. It was sad, but sweet, a moment of pristine, untainted beauty. The two of them emanated serenity. As fitting as the word cursed might have been to the mansion as a whole, at the top of the observation tower, a pure bond was being shared. A fleeting moment between a young man with a cursed touch and a kind-hearted, beautiful girl. The dream did not last long, no, for God is quite cruel. They simply wanted to be together. That was all. Their wish was hardly unreasonable. Only a quiet, peaceful life together. But misfortune was creeping ever nearer, its footsteps growing more and more pronounced. Oh man, we hit the turning point. We got a knock on the door. DoorDash is back. Also, how fast do these people die? Well, if it's anything like the butterfly, he touched the butterfly and the butterfly spread its wings once and then just crumpled. And when it crumpled, it looked like it had been dead for days, was the description. So, assumedly, pretty quick. I don't know if it happens faster for smaller things, right? I don't know if it scales. I don't know the scaling, but the butterfly was quick. The butterfly was like, oh, nice, a branch. Landed on his finger and then immediately just... It's probably really fucking nasty. That's what we were hearing earlier. That's what that was. Is someone at the door? The flow of time was hazy within the mansion's walls. They had little way of telling whether it was night or day, preventing them from knowing exactly how much time had passed. The white-haired girl had made a habit of climbing the observation tower every so often to see whether the sun was up, which allowed her to approximate the time of day. That'd be a fun experiment. Just like, gonna be the Vault Tech guy from Fallout 4. Is that a Fallout 4 thing where somebody just like completely lost track of time? If I boarded up all the windows and just had it like kind of dark all the time and I could make my own light, like what would my structure be? If I got rid of clocks, time is fake. Time is fake. You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of Grimes making visions. Have you ever heard the story of Grimes making visions? The album Visions. She like stayed up for days until she was hallucinating, and only then she like started recording. She's a fucking little freak. She's a little freak. Consequently, when she heard the knock on the door, she was not aware just how deep the night was outside. That forest and beast alike lay quietly at rest. Let me see. During recording, Grimes was reclusive and insomniac with blacked out windows for 9 days to induce hallucinations, stating, "You have no stimulation, so your subconscious starts filling in the blanks. I started feeling like I was channeling spirits. I was convinced my music was a gift from God. It was like I knew exactly what to do next, as if my songs were already written. The album was recorded entirely on Apple's GarageBand." Worst show I've ever been to was a Grimes show I got dragged to. Everyone was asking me for LSD, everyone was on LSD, and everyone wanted more LSD. That sounds about right. I've never seen Grimes, and now I feel like it's too late, right? Oblivion's one of the best songs of the past decade. I think we're like over a decade now. Was Visions 2011? January 2012. So we're over a decade. But yeah, that's just 9 days, blacked out the windows, and just stayed up to induce hallucinations. Because she didn't know what was day, what was night, and just sat there with her fucking MacBook in an apartment somewhere. Have you ever read the story of Grimes making a river boat and trying to sail down the Mississippi River? I'm sorry to go on a Grimes tangent right now. You ever heard about the Grimes Mississippi River story? It was too late immediately. Even if I had liked Grimes, I would have been paying to see her stand on stage and do literally nothing while the most annoying people on earth grinded up on me. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. This is an article from 2009 from Star Tribune. Like before she was like, anybody. When she tried to make a river boat with her then boyfriend and tried to sail down the Mississippi River all the way to New Orleans. And they only make it like a couple miles before the cops stop them. It's a great story. 2009. And look at her now. Look at her now. What a life. What a life. Life is so long, guys. Anything could happen. I'm sitting right here, streaming video games. We're 38 games in. We're starting Castlevania and Alien Isolation next week. Who knows where I'm going to be a decade from now? Who knows? She went to the same school as me? Cool. Me and my ex-boyfriend wanted to make a boat out of old 2-liter soda bottles. That sounds crazy. That doesn't sound too far off from what they did. Look at their houseboat. I can't show it on screen right now because of my setup, but take a look. Oh, right. The stores in the cellar are almost exhausted. It must be this month's delivery. Not thinking it was worth bothering Michelle over, she made her way out of her chambers and headed for the entrance. There had only been a single knock, leading her to conclude that, as before, the servant had simply left the box outside the door. So without a second thought, she opened the door. And there she saw a strange, vagrant man standing in the moonlight. His clothes were tattered, his bearded face bony and emaciated. She gasped, shrinking back several paces. The heavy door began to swing shut, but the man forced it open, glaring down at her with unfocused eyes and mumbling, "Are you the witch that'll grant people's wishes?" It was in that moment that the white-haired girl realized she had been careless. The man had sought out the mansion because he believed the legend of the witch. And he did not seem particularly right of mind either, perhaps a result of wandering through the forest for several days, or perhaps it was because he was so beaten down that he thought to ask for a witch's help. In a word, he seemed mad. "No, there's no witch here."
Sure there is, don't you lie to me. I can hear the witch's voice. She led me to this house.
I promise you there isn't. Now please, be on your way.
Have you any idea how long it took to find this place? How many days I've gone without food or water? And you're telling me to get lost.
I don't know what you want from me. I'm happy to give you a little food, so please.
Is there really no witch?
There's no witch here. It's nothing but a legend. If she does exist, she doesn't live here.
Oh, I see. And that means you're just an ordinary person.
Huh?
Just a person, just a girl.
Probably exclamation point advisory. I'm assuming just from this single line and the sound of something falling. Yeah, just an exclamation point advisory.
So there ain't a thing you can do.
No, get away from me. What are you doing?
Why waste time waiting for you to get me a little grub when I can just take it all? I'm starving here. I'm so hungry I could eat human.
You're about to commit a grievous sin. Are you not ashamed to act in defiance of God?
God? If I believed in God, would I come begging to a witch? I don't fear him, and I sure as hell don't fear people. Who's gonna show up to a house in the middle of nowhere? Who's gonna call me out? Who's gonna stop me? No one. That's who. No one's gonna stop me, and no one's gonna offer me salvation. There's a thought. You're a woman, so far I kill you.
What are you doing?
Huh? There are other people here.
The white-haired girl lay pinned on the floor beneath the yelling bandit, pleading for help with her ruby eyes. As soon as Michelle grasped the situation, he tossed his candlestick aside and leapt for the man. The candlestick gave a sharp clang when it hit the floor. The impact extinguished the flame, bringing the mansion to near perfect darkness. Something glinted in the bandit's hand, and then, without hesitation, he thrust it at Michelle. Michelle!
How stupid must you be to come at me unarmed?
In his hand, the man held a knife, its tip dripping with Michelle's blood. Red spilled from the gash in his arm, the flow growing heavier with each passing moment.
You're the only other person here by the looks of it, eh? Perfect, I'll take you both out.
You.
What?
You don't appear to know whose house you tried to break into.
What are you on about?
Regret your ignorance to your very last breath.
You're messed up in the head, you madman. Hey, stay the hell back. Take one more step and...
He gave him the touch.
Huh?
I inherited the witch's curse.
Let go!
Michelle clutched the man's face in one hand. The man raised his knife to strike back, but
What's happening?
the strength drained from his fingers, the knife falling to the floor. The man writhed in Michelle's grip.
Me face! No, I can't breathe!
Leave this place immediately, though you won't get far afflicted with my curse. Helpless to fight back, nay, helpless to even consider fighting back, the bandit fled from the mansion in terror. In his wake, only the white-haired girl and a bleeding Michelle remained. I just saw a man's life drained from him, his face withering away, sucked completely dry. Sad there was no drama shot. It's true, I agree. I didn't doubt him, but dear God, that was quite disturbing for you, I'm sure. No, not at all. It's my fault anyway, if I hadn't been so careless. Your arm. We need to get that wrapped up. Please, do not touch me. You mustn't touch me. The wound is hardly fatal. It's all my fault. I'm so sorry. No, a degree of blame falls on me for saying nothing. Next time someone comes to the door, let me know. I'm sorry. Please, you don't need to apologize. Well, yes? For once, I'm actually proud of myself. Proud that I could use this terrible ability of mine to do something more than just take life. To protect someone I care about. Like I said, please don't apologize. All right, thank you. Michelle? I'm glad you're here. I care about you too. Thank you. I want to read the Behemoth Grimes story. My friend had a small boat he wanted to get rid of, but he didn't want to pay to get it properly removed. This was around Halloween. We stole a bunch of pumpkins and filled them with gasoline, set it adrift in Easton, Maryland, and shot the pumpkins with incendiary rounds until the boat exploded and sank. What the fuck? I thought that was going to be like another like Grimes story. That's like a Trevor from GTA 5 side mission. That's like like in that lake way out in Los Santos. That's what you did. You did like a weird GTA 5 side mission. Had the flame of Michelle's candle not gone out when he threw it to the floor, he would have seen a heartfelt smile on the white-haired girl's face. I think I might have fired the shot that did it. It's been a long time, though. And she would have seen a flush of red and an awkward smile on Michelle's normally blank face. He also might have seen a little glimmer on her cheek, where a few drops of his blood had landed. Uh-oh. But alas, they had no light. Uh-oh. The collapse of their happiness came slowly, gradually. Perhaps it was because she had touched his blood instead of his skin, but the deterioration of the white-haired girl's health crept along at a relaxed pace. The life was not sucked out of her in the blink of an eye, as it had been from the bandit. She merely grew progressively less and less healthy. What's up, what game before? Amidst her physical decay, she was bestowed with one blessing. Her beauty remained untouched. But as far as blessings went, surely there were others she could have been granted. Could God have not picked something a little better for her? Hey, for the people that are coming in, we rolled marbles at the top of the stream for our next game. The next game is Castlevania on the NES. Really, really excited for the pick. It's like, I'm super stoked for it. the juxtaposition between Alien Isolation and Castlevania is going to make for really, really, really good streams. Could God not have picked something a little better for her? And by the way, watch Alien tonight or tomorrow before Tuesday's stream. Alien Isolation only pulls from the first movie, mostly from the first movie, because it takes place between Alien 1 and Aliens, and they used like a lot of the blueprints and designs, and they were handed terabytes of original like recordings and assets from the film from, production company. And so they used as authentic as they could. So watch the first Alien if you haven't in a while, because it will really play into your enjoyment for Tuesday night. By the time the two of them had realized what was happening, it was already too late. The white-haired girl had grown so weak she could hardly leave her bed. Yes. Oh, you are there. I am. Thank goodness. I can't see very well anymore. How could this happen? I thought I had saved you, but no, I did the exact opposite. Please, don't talk that way. You did save me that day. But you're on the cusp of death now, and it's my fault. Because of this curse I bear. How? How could this happen? Why did this have to happen? What am I? Why was I given this body? Michelle, can I, ask you for a favor? Go ahead. Stay with me, please. As much as you can until the very end. I was going to do as much anyway. Thank you. I'm happy, Michelle. Happier than I have ever been. And I mean that. You didn't just save my life. You saved me. I've been saved. But only me. I wonder how he'll handle things when I'm gone. If only I hadn't opened the door that day. I wouldn't be leaving him all alone. And we could be happy together for even longer. Yes. Would you, please, hold my hand? I think it's probably safe now. I will not. I cannot touch you. If I do, I might take what remains of your life, take your beauty away, and force you to die hideous. All right, Michelle, maybe not the time. I cannot touch you. Oh! We interrupt this program for a little fleshy freak out. Okay, maybe not. Oh!
Yeah.
On his way back from the washroom several days later, Michelle heard muffled voices.
Got it? I'm good.
He was having trouble making out what they were saying, but he could tell it was several men, and they were outside the front door. The fact that he could hear them at all through the heavy door meant they were probably shouting quite loudly. An indescribable sense of uneasiness came over him. Dread. He drew nearer to the door and focused on the voices on the other side. They grew clearer, enough for him to make out what the men were saying.
Everything's in place. We're ready to kill this witch now. This is definitely the place. That half-dead bandit said she was in this mansion. Listen well. No matter what we find in there, we kill it. It could be a child for all I care. That doesn't change anything.
Kill the witch!
Kill the witch! Kill the witch! Kill the witch!
What he heard beyond the door was a group of men shouting for the death of the witch. In that moment, Michelle regretted his decision to let the bandit go free and not watch over him until the moment of his demise. He must have made his way down to the village in search of help, where he revealed that he had found what he had found at the mansion. Damn it! But it was too late. Regret would solve nothing. He could neither stop the villagers from raiding the house, nor could he stop the white-haired girl from dying to the effects of the curse. He was helpless to do anything. The gears of his fate had locked him onto a path of tragedy and were turning mercilessly onward. The men had begun trying to break down the door with what sounded like a battering ram. While the first strike was not enough to breach the barrier, it was still quite powerful. He was certain it would not hold for long. Michelle's mind raced. Was there anything he could do about this predicament? How could he escape from the corner he had been backed into? Despite his possessing inhuman powers, he would be powerless against a full mob of adult men. The villagers almost certainly came armed as well. "Michelle?" A weak voice came from behind him. Aghast, he spun around to find the white-haired girl stumbling toward him. She breathed heavily, leaning against columns for support. "What are you doing out here? You'll only worsen your condition by exerting yourself." "I had a sinking feeling, and I heard noises on my way here. It seems that I have brought all my misfortune upon you." "Don't say that." "If I hadn't come here, this never would have happened. You never would have been in any danger. Please, Michelle, hand me over to the men outside." "Absolutely not. I will do no such thing." "They're here for the witch, aren't they? I'm guessing they're the same people who were chasing me before. The village had a poor harvest this year, I hear." "Where could you have heard that from?" "Like the village in the legend. And they believe it's the witch's curse." "But you're not a witch." "They need someone to fill the role, though. So please, hand me over, and then escape on your own." "I could never." "Please, Michelle." "I'm the one who's cursed, not you. And you want me to hand you over? What would I have left then? Nothing. Not a thing. I would have nothing. After so long, I finally found someone who isn't afraid of me, who won't run. I have no interest in a world that would take you away from me, make me live alone once more. To hell with such a world." "Michelle." Would you be willing to die with me?" If that's what you wish, then stay with me until the very end." "Yo?" "I probably wanted to hear that just as much as him. No, not probably, I did. I wanted to have someone at my side as much as him. It's so lonely not having anyone, to live alone, to die alone, to not have anyone watching over you, for no one to even know you're dead. I simply wanted someone to tell me they're here for me, to be there, to hold my hand. How wonderful that would be. The sense of utter relief it would bring would be enough to cast away all the pain, to allow me to accept all our suffering. So please, tell me you'll..." Oh, they're going up? Okay, all right. Michelle and the white-haired girl chose to spend their final moments at the top of the observation tower. They could hear the crash of the battering ram against the door, the shouts of the men and their stomping feet. But despite all that, the ray of light shining through the little window was as beautiful as always. The room's air of serenity remained unimpeached. After the long climb to the top, the white-haired girl was terribly out of breath. Michelle considered several times offering her his hand, but the possibility that doing so might rob her of her last scraps of life stayed his hand. Sounds like they broke down the door. I'm glad we made it up here when we did. I'm so sorry for asking this of you. Don't be. I would have chosen here for my final moments as well. This is the one place in this mansion with any sunlight. The one place I can get a good look at you. Thank you. I'm truly glad I was able to end up here, that I was able to meet you, and more than anything, that you said you cared about me. Have I managed to become an essential part of your life? Do you even need to ask? I wouldn't be here otherwise. I feel the same as you. I'm sure of it. The two of us are more similar than you probably care to admit. Can I ask you one more thing?
Go on.
Would you embrace me? If this is to be the end, if this is to be my last chance, then I don't want it to end without having been able to touch you. Please, don't refuse me this, Michelle. Please, just do it, please.
I won't keep you waiting long.
Thank you.
The truth is, I always wanted this. I dreamed of being able to hold you.
I dreamed of it too. Thank you. I'm so very...
She's still so beautiful. What a cruel joke. Could you not have given us some other miracle? One that would allow us both to survive?
Where are you? Where'd you get off to? I can't find her, damn it. Hey, there's some stairs over here. They lead up.
Beneath the single ray of light, the white-haired girl lay completely still. Not even a frail sigh escaped her closed lips. She remained as gorgeous as ever. It was as though she had simply fallen asleep in the sunlight. Looking down upon her, Michelle determined to do one thing. I will not allow anyone to sully this sight. He gave a fleeting glance back at her pristine corpse, then opened the door and stepped through it, alone. He would protect that room where she lay.
Hey, there's someone up here. So this is where you've been hiding, you infernal witch.
Wait, that's not the girl.
The raucous sound of their footsteps rang up from below. Shortly thereafter, the men themselves came into view. As he had expected, they were heavily armed. He glowered at the men, glowered, then sucked in a deep breath and shouted at the top of his lungs, "I'm the witch you seek. I've inherited her curse, and it is I who brings calamity upon you."
You hear that?
But he's a... Man or woman, it doesn't matter. Death to anyone who has ties to the witch.
Cleanse this earth of all impurity. Kill him! Kill him! Kill him!
Michelle did not flinch at the sight of the men. He stood unyielding between them and the door. He did not flinch when they raised their weapons against him, nor when they pierced his body. Fuck yeah. I mean, like, sad, but, like, fuck yeah. Climactic, for sure.
Die and take your curse with you. I have no need for this life any longer. It's all yours. I'm cursed to kill even that with which I protect. But at the very least, I can protect one thing before my life is done. Not even one of you will leave this place. Wither and die by my curse. The blood spilling from his skewered body flowed down the stairs, down and down like a little river, soaking the feet of every single man who had stormed the mansion. This was the last thing he saw before the final grains of life slipped between his fingers, which brought a faint smile to his lips. Neither of them had expected what happened next, though. For God has a most twisted sense of humor. The white-haired girl had not miraculously passed away without being robbed of her beauty. Why am I still alive? She had rather not passed away at all. Quite cruel of him, was it not? Michelle? Where have you gone, Michelle? Michelle, I smell blood. For he had allowed her to die. She would not have been made to witness the scene that awaited her. I had to allow that. You fucking bastards, I'll kill you, was auto-modded. For had he allowed her to die, she would not have been made to witness the scene that awaited her.
No, no. And I am sure you know just what it was she laid eyes upon in that moment. The ravaged corpse of her beloved, a torrent of blood streaming down, down, down the spiral staircase, and the sickening stench it raised. No, why? And his was not the only body. The villagers who had assaulted the mansion had been subjected to the curse, the life drained from their withered shells. Why did this? Michelle, why? Why am I the only one still alive? That is a question I cannot answer either. Perhaps his curse did not affect those he loved, as terribly cruel as that might be. I cannot say. Why, you said we would go together. A world without you has no meaning. Had she actually expended her life there in the room at the top of the tower, perhaps this tale could have had a happy ending. She would have at least been able to have the man she loved at her side until her very last moments upon this earth. But that was not what had transpired. She had survived, been left utterly alone. I felt a profound pity for the miserable girl, so I called out to her. Would you like to see him once more? What? I have the power to help you meet him again. Who's there? Where are you? You know what they call this mansion. So who do you suppose remains on these grounds? No way. You're from the legend. You actually exist. Now, I asked you a simple question. Would you like to see him again? The witch grants people's wishes, but at a price. I said I wouldn't ask for her assistance if I met her, but that's all changed. Now that I've lost him, if it's truly possible, then yes, I want to see him, bring him back to life. Regrettably, I cannot directly meddle with the forces of life and death. However, I can guarantee you this: your reconstruction. Reconstruction? Correct? To ensure that you remain as yourself in future lives and are not reborn as someone else, your body and mind shall be reconstructed, as shall his. If you sincerely wish to reunite with one another, if you genuinely need each other in your lives, you will eventually meet again. All I can promise you is eternal reconstruction. What you make of it is up to you. You want to see him again, don't you? You want to hear his voice again, don't you? You want to feel his hand on your cheek once more, don't you? If that's what you want, then you must remain who you are. If you are simply reborn, that wouldn't be you. So there wouldn't be any point, would there? Me, as I am, and he as he is. Make up your mind quickly. I will not wait long. I want to see him again. As you wish, sweet little girl. I shall grant you both eternal reconstruction, and pray with all my heart that you can attain true happiness. Shortly thereafter, the white-haired girl took her own life. She decided she had nothing to gain by remaining in the present time, and that in order to be reunited with Michelle, she needed to make her way to her next life. And thus the mansion was left bereft of a master, to travel slowly through the ages until someone came along to give it life once more. But an unfathomable amount of time has passed, and the two have still yet to reunite. Have they, Master? You know now who you are, do you not? You remember everything now, do you not? You were present in every single era. The reason for which is as I described in the previous tale, because you yearned to be reunited with someone, but that person never showed up in any era. And poor sweet you, having no memory of any of that, lived those lives with other men. Is it any surprise misfortune befell those eras then? The door swung closed, but rather than outside, you and the maid were inside the dull, monochrome room at the top of the observation tower. The awe-inspiring ray of light shone not through the lone window high upon the stone wall. Wrapped in a curious, impenetrable darkness, you both stood alone in the room. The maid wore a gentle, but brittly cold smile as she looked straight at you. It is not your fault misfortune befell you. The only force to blame for that is fate. You were always so kind, so pure of heart. You had boundless trust for others and the goodness of people. You were the very image of all that is right. There's no greater misfortune than someone as pure and beautiful as you, being mercilessly thrown into the grinding gears of tragedy again and again. I still pity you for everything you had to go through. You poor, poor soul. You must be utterly exhausted, constantly betrayed, the man you were waiting for never appearing. After so long, your spirit worn down to the bone, you lost any and all awareness of who you even were. Who are you hoping to find wandering in this illusory mansion, cut off from the real world? You and I are the only ones here. The man you seek is nowhere to be found. Have you still not figured it out? Then allow me to tell you everything. I am the cursed witch, Morgana, who haunts this mansion. And you are the tragic plaything of fate, the white-haired girl named Giselle. Did my calling you master confuse you? If so, then I apologize. My habit of calling the master or mistress of the house master is quite deeply ingrained. And yes, that means precisely what you think it does, that I have accepted you as my new master, that I wish for you to remain here, to stay with me. So let us put an end to this journey. Do not worry, there is nothing to fear. We are simply going to step outside the river of time. Nothing unpleasant will ever happen to you again. I will be here with you for all eternity, and I will give you my utmost care. You will not have to wait for anyone. Forget about him, the man you once sought, and I'm sure you shall find happiness. Please, do it for me. I've been waiting for you for so very long. I've wanted nothing more than to see you again. But you were continually stolen away from me. Despite my sincerest desires to spend my days with you, which is why I wanted you to recall everything. For surely you would not be willingly repeat the same fate. If you knew of all the pain it has caused you to suffer thus far, spend eternity with me in the gentle embrace of darkness. The maid extended her hand for you. Her fingers, brushing up against yours, were as cold as ever. But her breath tickled your skin pleasantly, and her sweet words rang in your ears, filling you with warmth. You thought back on your time with her in the mansion. She had indeed always treated you with great compassion, and nothing she had said seemed to be a lie. And so, you pondered. What were you to do? Yeah, I got it. I figured this is a... So, okay, I can open it up and save from this screen. Thanks, Franco. Well, what are we thinking? I will tell you, I caught it. I caught the maid being the witch about a half an hour in today. But before that, I was in the dark about it. I caught it when they were going up the tower for the first time, looking for the witch. And the fact that she would be in that observation tower is when I went, oh, okay, the white-haired girl isn't the witch. The only other person that's been in the house across time is the maid. But before that, I mean, I had no idea. I'm glad that it never got me. We have a choice here, folks. We have a choice here. Accept her proposition, reject her proposition, or there is still more to be done. Save the third one for last. All right, well, Nancy did say, trapped in the Shadow Realm world with the Maid Witch sounds great. So, right, I never fully realized it, but I'm not blown away. Right, exactly. It's not like a whoa, big twist. It's like, oh, well, you know, they did it. That was like, you know what it was? It was good sleight of hand. It was good sleight of hand. It's not something that, like, when they showed me my card, I was like, whoa, holy shit. It was more like, man, how did you get that? We've been watching this for 18 hours. How did I not catch on sooner? You know what I mean? It's not a big, like plot twist. It's more of I'm impressed that the storytelling was done in a way that my suspect was never quite there. It was framed well. I'm just used to saying master. Right. Well, to be fair, and tying this even further into Valkyria Chronicles, remember, Johann Oswald said sir the entire time to Salvaria. He never said ma'am. Do you remember that? In the Valkyria Chronicles DLC, he always said sir, even like referring to her. The layers. The layers, they're stacking up. They're stacking up. All right, we're going to the Shadow Realm. She was absolutely right. You had seen an excess of tragedy. You had borne witness to far too much pain, and your spirit was deeply wounded by it. You could not possibly endure any further tragedy. And so if she was offering you relief from all that, perhaps you should accept it. She had guided you this far, never letting go of your hand. And it was her presence that had allowed you to bear the bleak, disheartening, and wretched tales you saw. Did you really need anything other than her? If she said she wanted to be with you, then surely you were allowed to want the same. Grasp my hand, master. Come, hold it tight. You gently wrapped your fingers around the maid's cold hand, never again to let go, never again to remember, never again to look back upon the past you might have had, the rare, treasured days of happiness, or the bitter days filled with nothing but pain, or the person you were supposed to find. But you were fine with that. There was no one to criticize you for averting your eyes from your pain and seizing the opportunity for happiness lying before you. You made the correct choice. Master? Master? Oh, thank goodness, you've awoken. I was getting worried there for a moment. What kind of herbal tea would you like to start your day with? I have some with wonderful chamomile leaves if you'd like. Or perhaps your tastes have changed since we last met. Tell me, master. I beg your pardon. I allowed myself to get too excited, but we get to be together forever, after all. Free of the flow of time, nothing to endanger us or our lives. Just peace and serenity for the two of us. I will serve you forever and ever. Does that not sound wonderful, master? Ladies and gentlemen, the house in Fata Morgana. Can you believe it? Just kidding. Just kidding. Just kidding. We're going to do a Goated Plus stretch goal for ending 2. I'm starting the starting bid at 25 gift subs to keep going. Prisoner of Illusion. Right. Sounds like we picked the right ending. Exactly. And there it is. Prisoner of Illusion. The pretty goth lady has manipulated us successfully. All right, let's get back in there. All right. Reject her proposal. Watch her freak out. Oh yeah, 8 endings. Basically 7 dead ends and 1 ending. Basically, Yarrow. You could not accept the maid's offer. If what she had said was true, you could not give up on your search. You had spent years and years waiting to reunite with someone. Your previous attempts may have been rife with mistakes, but you could not stop trying. Come, Master. Spend eternity with me in the mansion. We will have the most wonderful time together. The sweet tone of her voice, her cold fingers, her icy smile. These were all terrifying now. You had to escape. Had to break out of this darkness, make it outside. Master, what is the... You brushed the maid's hand aside. As her eyes widened, aghast, you fled from the observation tower. Down and down the spiral staircase you went, though not a whisper of a footstep could be heard in the stone tower. The stairs seemed to go on forever. Down and down and down and down. At long last, you arrived at the bottom, dashing from the next room without a passing glance at the angel in the stained glass window. Look at all the rooms of the house. We've been here. The maid had shown you around the mansion, so you knew its layout. Or perhaps you were familiar with it even before arriving here. A large door came into view. The exit was up ahead. Master. But the next moment her voice seized you from behind. You turned back and there stood the maid, wearing the same smile. Where do you think you're going, Master? I told you you mustn't let go of my hand. This mansion is quite large. You could get lost if you go walking around unaccompanied. Now come, let us head back, and please do not let go of my hand. It was the same smile she always wore, the exact same. But right now, it seemed inexplicably ghoulish. The chill that ran down your spine was not from the lack of heat, but utter terror. Come, let us head somewhere else. You had to get out of here. Oh, I know. We can put some more kindling in the fireplace and start a fire. The sweet firelight and gentle warmth will have you feeling wonderful in no time. You had to get out of here. You must be quite disoriented. The impact of regaining your memories has you terrified. Am I correct? You had to get away. You had to escape. You had to get out of here. Do not worry. I will always take care of you, keep you safe from anything that scares you. I will be here with you. Forever. You clawed at the door. It was not barred, so it should open. Nevertheless, it remained firmly in place. Now, you mustn't play around with that. Danger lurks around every corner outside. Fog blocking your sight, sinkholes in the road, a thick forest all around, beasts creeping about in the night. How could I possibly allow weak little you to go out into that? Now come back to my side, please. You have no need to be here. The maid drew toward you. She reached out her hand. Her whole body seemed to be trying to encase you in ice. She wanted to keep you chained here in the darkness. Do not worry. There's nothing to be afraid of. You had to get out of this place. You had to break free. From this house of darkness, from this doting maid, and from the maelstrom of tragedy, you had to remain firm, unyielding in that desire, your desire to go outside, your wish to be set free. You could not compromise or relent. Your thirst for escape had to be stronger than the maid's intent to keep you here. If it was, the door would surely open. Master! You dashed out into the light. There was nothing blocking your escape outside, no fog, no forest, no sinkholes, and no beasts in sight. The light was so bright it almost hurt your eyes. It was a world exactly opposite the darkness within the house. "Master, please, wait, you mustn't go out there. Come back, quickly." You could hear the maid's voice, but you kept running through the light as far as you could go. Wherever you arrived, you were sure that was where you were meant to be. Once, though, just once, you looked back over your shoulder. It was blurry in the bright light, but you could see the mansion there. It wavered like a mirage, as though it could disappear at any second, the maid standing in the open door. She was desperately reaching her hands out for you, but you were far out of reach. It seemed like she could not leave the house. Perhaps you felt a pang of pity for her, but you were not sure. And when you could no longer hear the maids shouting for you, your consciousness snapped off. You fell not into darkness, but light. Bright. Bright light. Whoa. Huh? What was I doing again? Oh, that's right. I was on my way to school. Now what was I doing dozing off in the middle of the road? I'm not sure. I feel kind of in a daze, like I just woke up from a terrible nightmare. In the middle of the day? In the middle of the road? Nothing like that's ever happened before. Has it? Something doesn't add up. I can't remember what I was doing. It's like there's a big gap in my memory. What was I doing? Who was I looking for? Need to stay focused. I have to get going or I'll be late. I know this place all too well. It's the same route I take to school every day. There's a vendor along the way that always gives good morning to me. Always the same route. I know this place? Yes, I know this place. I see it every day. Every day. Nothing changes. It's always the same. My perfectly normal, ordinary, everyday life. Where's the GeoGuessr folks to tell us exactly where this is? They could find it. A gentle breeze brushes against my cheeks. My hair flutters as my gaze slides upward. I'm looking at a tall, handsome man with long hair and a somewhat despondent demeanor. I think I know this man. As soon as I see him, I feel like someone stuck their hand in my chest and is squeezing my heart. It's hard to breathe, and the overwhelming sense of familiarity has me on the verge of tears. Elation jolts through all of my extremities. Ah, I know. This is the person I've been searching for. Excuse me. Excuse me. I have to get him to turn back. I have to look him in the eyes. I have to talk to him. We have to be reunited. I don't know his name, and he probably doesn't know mine, but still, this is fate, so... Back to the mansion. What? I must go back to the mansion. Hold on! There's something I need to tell you. How could I have made that mistake? It was the worst possible decision. I have to make things right. I have to take her hand. I have to make her smile for me. If I can't do that, what am I even alive for? What did I even return from everlasting darkness for? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. What are you talking about? This time I'll do it. Can you hear me? Why won't he look me in the eyes? And if it's not possible in this life, stop, please, listen to me. Why does he keep moving forward? Then I'll just have to place my hope in the next one. Wait, red light! I beg your forgiveness. I made the worst possible decision, though I will not make the same mistake twice. No matter what form you may assume, I will not err again. I promise. I shall come back for you. Giselle. Relive the horror. Hey, someone call an ambulance. Someone's been hit by a car. What? Ending 2. So, 2 endings down. Can you believe it? Can you believe it? 6 more to go. Now that's the good ending. Right. That's the good ending. Let me take a quick break. I'm going to refill this tea, and then we are going to answer the third response. We're going to go 3. And when we come back, we'll go 3 mode and see how deep this rabbit hole goes. All right? Because it goes a lot deeper. I'm going to tell you now. I'm not joking when I say we're going to be playing this game until the end of the year. It's not an exaggeration. There's a lot left. These first 2 endings, I mean, Franco will tell you, we're hitting the meat, right? We just hit the title card. We hit the title card. We hit the preamble. Cody's saying he's going 3 mode makes me think he's never coming back. Don't do this. No, I'm coming back. I'll be right back. I'm just going to refill this tea. And then when I come back, we'll keep playing. Guys, I've had Castlevania on the front of my mind this whole time. I'm so excited for that game. I'm thinking about the logo. I'm thinking about everything. I think it's going to be such a great playthrough. I willed. That's the power of manifesting. I got my side scroller. Our first action game. Can you believe it? I'll be right back. I will see you in a minute. When I come back, we will keep going. What a perfect trailer to have pop up. Hi everybody. Fable commercial asking what would you stop a mass shooting before it's allowed to happen? Is that the subway train one? What's up, Tay? How are you? Where'd we get in Bloodborne? I can guess what we got here. Fluid and free in full 3D, that might be Super Mario 64, and then the Got Milk Mario 64 commercial, and then Fata Morgana. And then Fable was in there as well. Tay, we have gotten 2 endings of the game so far. Shit's popping off. Let me... change the title. Whole bunch of shit happened. I forgot that this was like a 100-hour book. Yeah, you're so right. You're so right. What's the collection time at? Let me check. Collections. 15 hours and 25 minutes. And like, if I had to describe what we just hit, Franco just said earlier, we hitting the real meat now. Meat in all caps. It's not 100. It's like 35. It's like 35. We will be playing this through the rest of the year. I'm in ROM and we're in gay ol' hell. We're in gay ol' hell. Nice. That whole ROM thing is sad. That's what scared me, Tay. When you beat ROM and suddenly it's like, yo, the only protector between humanity and these freaky Cthulhu beasts on the walls, that's gone now. You're on your own, humanity. You're on your own. Thanks for nothing, assholes. That's what scared me. It like chilled me to the core when I first played Bloodborne, in 2015 or whatever. They've been there chilling on the walls. Chilling on the walls. Chilling on the walls. I'll be there as soon as Rom's gone. I'll be there chilling on the walls. All right. I hope enough of you got that. I know Franco probably did. So those 2 endings were dead ends. Yeah. Behemoth got it. Thank you. I knew you would as well. Okay, cool. Thanks, guys. Thanks, guys. Sometimes I worry about my audience. I'm just kidding. Those two were dead ends. Every end besides... that was Grimes. Yeah. That was Grimes' biggest hit, Chillin' on the Walls. Every ending besides the ending of the game is going to be a dead end. So we'll just see how that goes as we play it. All right. Away we go. We're here. We're not accepting. We're not rejecting. We are telling Morgana that there is still more to be done. But before I do that, Tay, next game is Castlevania. OG NES Castlevania. Very excited. Like, very excited. So excited that,
Gaming.
I already started looking it up during the break, and I didn't realize that, like The Legend of Zelda, it was a Famicom Disk System game in Japan first, and then got, like, back-ported to cartridges for the United States, because the United States didn't have the Famicom Disk System. Anyway. I envy your ability to immerse into the ROM lore. I was busy zooming in on guy in chair staring at the moon and speculating that his Pope mask exfoliated his face with cucumber residue. Right. Like, in the moment, I didn't, right? In the moment, I beat this stupid spider thing that was rolling around like an idiot. And then I woke up there and it's like, what the fuck? Have these been here the whole time? And then you have to understand, there comes a time in every Bloodborne fan's life where they go on YouTube and they type in the words Bloodborne explained. And that's when they go from a fan of a game to really fucking annoying about the game. And I crossed that line 2.5 years ago when I replayed it. But it happens to everybody. It happens to everybody. It'll happen to you too. Don't you worry about it. You too will transfer from just a fan of Bloodborne to annoying about Bloodborne by going like, you're both being annoying right now. Read the fucking story. You're right. Hey, there's still more to be done. But yeah, you're gonna watch that video and it's gonna be great. You're gonna be like, oh my god, Father Gascoigne and his daughter and the ribbon and the pig and the... Oh my god, can you believe it? The music box? But I digress. Something seemed off. Not only with the story she had just told, with her, and with you, yourself. Assuming everything she had said was the truth, which or not, my mind is made up. Which will strike you first, I wonder? Regret or the curse? You seem to be doing just fine. It's only a tale. The witch is real, very much so. It's not a legend nor a fairy tale. The witch is me. That's right. It wasn't the white-haired girl who had claimed to be the witch. And that wasn't all. Or do you mean to reclaim your old self no matter the cost? If you do, if you're sincerely prepared to do that, then be wary of the tale that comes next. Any tragedy that seems too beautiful to be real is precisely that, a fabrication. None of your questions had been answered. You still didn't know who the painting was, or what had taken place so long ago that caused the mansion to summon people to it. You didn't even know who you were, for that matter. There was still more to be done. You had to find the truth. You needed to find someone. That much was certain. But was the story of the maid had told Was the story the maid had told correct about whom? And if it was, what about her? What about the woman whose name you couldn't say? The woman who had so cheerfully called you master? We agreed that we would live together, not just in the same house. So we've got plenty of time to add more to the list. Oh right, they're doing GoatedQuest. I forgot about this. And I hope you can make your own list about me, too. This is just the beginning, after all. We've got a long, long time ahead of us. Plenty enough to get to know each other, no? And the maid does have a habit of lying. She lied about the Yukimasa stuff. You must say her name. You must take her hand. You must make her smile once again. You mustn't reclaim your old self. It's dark. Dark. It's dark. It's dark again. It's dark, 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 constantly engulfed in darkness. You threw it away every single time. I must break you out of this darkness. I'll give you a world that's not cruel to you. I must escape and take her hand. Because that's the reason. Oh, I've got a wonderful idea. I came here. You can curse them with me. I must return. I must reclaim. We can think of new ways to torture them. We'll all be happier if you stay here. Just think about it. Stay here in this world. You'll be right at home. No, I did the best I could for you, nothing more. This is not where I belong. No matter how much a world of darkness may suit me, you'll never be able to do it. I must reclaim my true self. This is brilliant. Do you have any idea how terrible a decision that is? Do you have any idea why I fabricated that story? It was all for you. So stay here. Stay right where you are. The darkness suits you better. Remember what someone told you not long ago? That you could handle the stories because they weren't your own? Yes, they are. They're coming from this stream. That you were able to bear the tragedies because they happened to others? If that had been your suffering, this is like the third time we've heard it. If the secrets you had kept buried away for so long had come out, you couldn't possibly have endured it. Dude, we're getting into Franco wasn't kidding about the meat. We're ripping through the meat right now. But you're a sharp one. I'm sure you intend to keep those secrets tucked away forever. Do you really think I'm going to let you do that, though? Whatever you try to hide, I'll make sure your beloved hears every last detail. How foolish can you be? Despite all my encouragement, you still insist on getting your old self back? What do you have to gain from that? Nothing but filthy, ugly tragedy awaits you down this path. Don't get your hopes up, my dear. There's nothing for you there. You have nothing. I'm offering you a place by my side. You should just take it. There's no salvation for you anywhere. None. At all. Anywhere. From anyone. Ever. She has long since lost all grasp on reality. And you think there's anything you can do for her now? Despite having repeatedly failed to even regain yourself? Well, I suppose if you're going to be stubborn, as much as I didn't want to, I have to place a curse on your soul. That's right. The white-haired girl was never at the mansion. She was a black-haired girl the whole time? There is still a story left untold. What? The fourth door was all a lie. What do you mean? It was not some sweet little tragedy. The story you told me was pure fantasy. No, that was the truth. That was where it all began. Because of what happened then, you spent innumerable years lost, until you showed up here and... What? You reach out, grasping for it. You pull yourself in, your silhouette, which has been hazy until now, begins to take form. Your mind, your consciousness, your heart, your soul, and your body. Who are you? The veil in your mind dissipates. A crack forms in the shell encasing you. Then another. The invisible shackles chaining your spirit fall to the floor. Reality fades in atop the indistinct foggy world around you. Bony fingers appear before your eyes. Long hair. Your voice, no. My voice. My body. My fingers. My arms are frail and my joints are weak, but despite my resemblance to the white-haired girl, I am not her. This is who I am. I have finally reclaimed myself. You weren't waiting for the white-haired girl. You were waiting for me. And that's exactly why I came here. What? I have no idea what you're talking about. I've always waited for the white-haired... There was never a white-haired girl. There was only... This time I must say her name. She is Giselle. There was only you. I am Giselle? No, I am not Giselle. I'm a servant of the house, and I'm the witch. The cause... You are not a witch. The witch is someone else. Why do you insist that you're the witch? What changed you so much? The sleight of hand continues. They said, actually, that was never your card to begin with. Remember this? 2 weeks ago, when you crossed the street and you saw a 2 of clubs? This is the card I was thinking of all along. The shadowy figure in the master bedroom, that was her. A glimpse into her past. I'm sure this is Giselle, but why is she so different? Cheez-Its? Cheez-Its! David Blaine, what the F? What happened to the spark she used to have? Where did the light she once shone upon the world go? I have to remember. I must remember. This cannot end until I have. This is no longer a story. No, what I need to face is my past and her heart. She was not even present in the story she made up. Everything about it had been changed. The past I lived and the wounds she bore were more grounded in harsh reality, not wrapped in a film of fairy tale magic. That was the final tale, and it was all true. That's how it happened. It was a bittersweet story. No. How can you not see this? Yes, it was a beautiful tragedy. But was there even a scrap of humanity in it? Behind the 3 preceding doors, there had been a constant thread of ugliness and conflicting motivations, but there was hardly a trace of that behind the 4th door, which, remember, led Nancy to say this is the most like a love story. If you remember a couple of hours back, Nancy said this is definitely the most love story out of all of them, because it was all a lie. The characters felt like nothing more than characters. Is that what you want to turn it into? Is that what you want our history to become? Our history? But I don't remember anything at all. You don't remember anything? No, I don't want to. I don't need a past or a future. All I have left inside me is uncertainty. Giselle. No. That's not my name. Please, stop trying to confuse me. I'm fine with things the way they are. If it means I don't have to hurt, that's all I want. So please, just let me keep being the maid. Let me keep being a guide, not some foolish girl. Is that what she honestly desires? Does she want to cast aside her past for good? If so, then... Whoa. Whoa. This is another good question. Oops, all choices. Yeah, what's going on here? Franco, do you have a nudge for this one? My instinct is not forcing her because that's, you know, like, right, I know it's kind of obvious, but if I were playing this game just on my own belief, I'd go the not force her on my own. So I'm just going to do that. We saved. I can't force her to do something she doesn't want to. If she doesn't reclaim herself on her own, I'll never get her to say my name again. But if she wants to leave all that behind her, then it's not my place to interfere. I've done things that would warrant her wanting to rewrite her past, erasing me entirely. But I think more than anything... Bahuma, that's the dumbest joke I think in the year and 10 months that this channel has existed. Option 3, give her a Wendy's French toast stick. Speak now if that was pulled from a Jesse or Ricky stream, or if that's just something concocted from your own brain. Because give her a Wendy's French toast stick is killing me. And I think 3 days from now, I'm going to think back on give her a Wendy's French toast stick because it is a great, stupid fucking bit. That was a Jason original? All right. I love you, man. That was good. Why? Does Wendy's even make French toast sticks anymore? Do they even exist? Oh, they're new. Oh, they're brand new. I have no idea. My brain is like on fire right now. Dude, I'm going. No! I'm sorry to do this. Oh no! You want to see this hurts.
Hello everyone.
Gaming.
Do you hear him?
Food review. Well, hello, ladies, gentlemen, and everyone watching. Welcome one and all to this newest edition of
I'm gonna send the title.
Food Review Series. I'm your host, the Report of the Week. Thanks for checking in. Well, good morning.
No!
Watching this during the morning.
Oh no. The top comment is, if you like bland fried bread, then you're going to be in hog heaven. Quote, great line. Apparently he destroys it. Food review. Oh man. But I think more than anything, I'm afraid of hurting her, of breaking her any more than she already is. No, mine is a more cowardly fear. I'm just afraid she'll no longer take my hand. All right, then. What should have been behind the door was our life together. But for her, there's nothing but misery there anymore, in our time together, and in me. Forget everything I've said. The tale within the fourth door was the whole truth. I can live with that. I would just ask you to allow me one thing. To remain by your side. Of course you may. I was the one who asked you to forget about everything and live in eternal darkness with me. What a silly question. Did you think I would ever say no? Right. You did, didn't you? Yes, I did. Worry not, I will banish the memory. I'm sure you were simply disoriented at having learned who you are. There's nothing to fear. Only happiness awaits you. I'm getting excited now. What should we do first? Oh, I know. We should throw a party in commemoration of your decision to remain here with me. I shall prepare the most wonderful feast, my sweet girl. So you forget all about him, all right? If that is what you desire, I will never be anyone ever again. So that's the Notebook ending. You're not the brightest, are you, my dear? You knew this is what would happen if you took this road. You would have been happier going down it without reclaiming yourself at all. Ah, this is absolutely brilliant. A weight has been lifted off my shoulders. My centuries-long wish has finally been realized. The one thing I didn't expect was for you to recover yourself, but it all turned out the same in the end. You know what? Sure. I'll stay out of your way, and I'll pray for you both to be happy. Take a sip of tea here. I gotta steep this tea bag a little bit. Master? Master? Oh, thank goodness, you've awoken. I was getting worried there for a moment. Oh, does this just wrap us back up to 1? Okay, I see. Perhaps you tasted change. Tell me, Master. No, that will do. As you wish. Say, Master, can I hope for you to compliment my tea again, to say it's the best you've ever had? Master? Oh, yes. I'm sure I have something nice to say about it. You were never one to withhold your praise, Master. Such a gentle-mannered, kind-hearted girl. Have I ever praised her tea before? I do recall telling her, when I saw her gathering strange weeds from the garden for her herbal tea, that doing so at this house, given its reputation, only made her look like a real witch. And how did she react to that? I think she puffed her cheeks and frowned, and then... I can't remember. She thinks I'm the white-haired girl, yet she calls me Master, completely oblivious to how absurd that sounds. But she won't say my name. Eventually, I'll probably forget it too. My name, who I am, everything that's happened to us, washed away by the darkness, never to be found again. She's smiling. I know it's not real, but I honestly don't care anymore. All that matters is that she's smiling. That's a sweet one. That's my ending. Bonjour, Poopy. That's my ending. Bonjour, Poopy. Yeah, Poopy. Like a shit. Yeah, Yara, I'm right with you. Bonjour, Poopy. That's my ending. I did that for 2 years. I did that for 2 years with my grandma. You know what? I'm whoever you want me to be. I'm the assistant down the hall at this hospital that's actually your house. Sure, that's who I am. I used to lay in bed with don't be sad about it. Don't be sad about it. I used to lay like in bed with my grandma. She had like the hospital bed rails on either side, and I used to like just kind of fuck with her. I used to play music and flash the flashlight on my phone and like just kind of mess with my grandma and like have a rave just to be funny. And she would lay there and she would be like, "Stop, you're gonna get us in trouble. Stop. You gotta knock it off right now." And it's like, who's gonna get us in trouble? I'm in charge here. You don't have to worry about a thing. And I used to do that kind of stuff all the time. So that's my ending. The rest of the game is their ending. I found mine. Alright. No matter what she says, I know I'm right. And if she doesn't reclaim her old self, I'll never get to hear her say my name again. I know I'm being selfish here, but I can't do that. If you're afraid of what you might find, we can remember together. I haven't gotten everything back yet myself, so let's open the real door together. There are no other doors to open. But there is. One that can only open by our hands, because it exists between the two of us. And he goes like this. And he goes... Not a door with physical form, exactly. He goes like this. But the door to your heart, now it's Kingdom Hearts, the door to... I grasp her unnaturally cold hand, a hand that long ago once had warmth. If she can't lead the way, then I have to. I must pick up the pieces of our erased history so we can both reclaim ourselves. Find the actual truth. No matter what we may uncover, I will not let go of this hand. No, I mustn't let go of it. Darkness falls over the world around us. The floor upon which we had been standing flickers out of existence, sending us dropping into an endless abyss. This dark pit, this is her door, her history, her heart. Let's try this one more time. It's not a sweet story by any means. It's a story of betrayal, anger, hatred. We caused each other pain, but that's the road we traveled. And down that road lies all the answers.
The fifth door, baby! Oh shit! Here we go! Here we go! Here we go!
Yarrow, there's still like 20 hours left of this shit. Like, we're not even close. All of those answers, we're looking at them. We're looking at them. The rest of the game is that. Tune in next time. No, I'm kidding. We're still going. We got 45 minutes. Hey, first time watching this game, catch me up on the entire story real quick. All right, here we go. Ready? Old house. You wake up in it. There's a maid. She's right down here. She goes like, "Oh, master, you're awake. Come with me. We're going to lead you through the history of this house. And maybe by, recounting the story." Yeah, there is actually a catch-up redeem, John. Welcome in, by the way. How are you doing? Hope your evening's going well. Is the player character a man or a woman? Tune in next time. We've got 20 hours left. Woke up, have no idea who we are, right? We have no idea who we are. We're just in a chair. We woke up. Maid goes, "Oh, master, you're awake. Oh, shit, you don't remember who you are? Okay, let me help. Let me help out and help you try and figure out who you are. We'll lead you through the history of this house, door by door, and teaches the whole thing. And then we get to the end of the whole thing, and we find out that the fourth door was all a lie that she concocted so that she could have her own little happy ever after. And we realize who we are. The character realizes who they are. It's kind of like obfuscated from the player right now. Like, we have more questions than we have answers, but we are now actually going into the real story of the real events of the real game. So, with that being said, we're about 16 hours into this. It had been several days since I left the capital, and I could still see it when I closed my eyes. The people lined up on the Grand Pont, awaiting entry, eager to start a new life there, brimming with hope. It was a city people were willing to pay high taxes to live in. If you were a performer, you could get some of those costs shaved down a bit by putting those skills to use. The capital was harsh on those who wanted in, and apathetic about all who left. It was composed of a powerful nobility and clergy, wealthy merchants and bankers, and a large population of poor. And it was the city I had called home for a long time. I didn't know much about where I was heading. It's getting foggy. Looks like it might rain. Maybe we should take a little break. You want to keep going? Oh, all right then. The coachman was frustratingly taciturn. Taciturn? I think that's right. He acted as though he had gotten stuck transporting a prisoner, though that was hardly a stretch. From his point of view, I was nothing more than a criminal. Even the times he would acknowledge I had said anything, he made no effort to hide the scorn in his eyes, to pretend he didn't regret ever taking this job. and I would just fall silent again. The road was gradually getting narrower. We had long since left the paved city roads behind, and were now traveling along a couple worn-down grooves in the forest. How did I end up here? Why was I being subjected to this? I was done thinking about it. The more I thought on it, the less fair it seemed. The more I remembered, the worse it hurt. All I could do anymore was close my eyes and weather the storm. Deep within the dense woods, a mansion appeared before us like the world fading into view after a dream. It didn't seem to be an especially large house, but it had obviously been constructed with a great deal of care, and it was thankfully not standing in ruins. This deep in the forest? The carriage came to a stop, and the coachman climbed down, signaling with his chin for me to get out. Thank you very much. You must be tired after such a long journey. This is the mansion I'm looking for, yes? But the driver didn't even acknowledge me, getting back onto the carriage and setting off into the forest. He seemed to want to get as far away from here as quickly as possible. He could have said something. Oh well. That was about all I could say, anyway. Oh well. I couldn't blame anyone for my being here, or for his wanting to get out. I should get going, I guess. Getting a better look at it, the house's windows were, strangely enough, all shuttered. It was probably dark as pitch inside. Does no one live here? But if that's the case, then why was I placed my hand on the front door. Such a big door. What if I couldn't get in? I had no idea what else there was in the area. If the door didn't open, then I would die out here in the forest. I've come to accept much, but I was not ready to forfeit my life yet. Please, open. It's not locked, I guess. Oh, so this is what we saw with this song and the blue. Yeah. This is what we saw in the painting. The door was heavy, and though it seemed to protest my attempts to enter, it still opened much easier than I was expecting. I was worried over nothing. This was in the mirror. Yeah. Oh, in the mirror as we passed by. Thank you. Not the painting that was talking and gave us the key. This was in the mirror. True. Looking in, I got the strangest impression that light was being swallowed up into the mansion's depths. Rather than going inside, it felt as though I was about to step outside the boundaries of this world. When I closed the door, it was so dark I couldn't even tell where I was walking. I wonder if the windows open. Though I managed to fumble my way over to a window, it was tightly shuttered, and the shutters caked with rust. I was probably not getting it open without a fight. Darn, not a hint of light. I couldn't even see my hand waving in front of my face. It felt as though the floor would fall out from under me and I would sink into eternal darkness if I didn't watch my step. Fighting back that fear, I slowly walked forward, tracing the wall with my hand. There was a door at the end of a long corridor. I pulled it open, and a wisp of bone-chilling air brushed past me. It was too dark to see anything, but I could feel something different present in this area than the rest of the house. Uneasiness gripped me. Hello? Is anyone there? Please don't tell me it's actually abandoned. I suppose I can't know without looking around a bit more. My voice simply disappeared into the void. No response. As I pushed forward through the freezing air, for a split second I spotted a shimmer of light. Squinting my eyes, I was able to make out a large window. Unlike the others, it wasn't shuttered. What do we have here? Drapes? I see a little light beyond. My chances were slim, I imagined, but if there was even a slight possibility of getting some light in here, it was worth a shot. So I pulled open the drapes. The next moment, faint but colorful light shone down on me. It was a stained glass window. From beyond the glass, I could hear the subtle pitter-patter of rain. It had finally started, it seemed. The different colors of light blended into a milky white, dim but wondrous. It's so pretty. It looks like an angel. Why would someone cover this up? It's beautiful. With a little more light, it'd be... Please, do not touch the drapes. or the windows. Suddenly I heard a voice, and I could sense someone else in the room. The man's voice was emotionless, neither deep nor high. Before long, he came into view, illuminated by dull, orange candlelight. I'm sorry for coming in uninvited, but, I did announce myself. The man stood there, practically blending in with the darkness. Had he been there the whole time? He was staring straight at me. His gaze wavered slightly, but not enough for me to read anything in it. Then again, I could hardly make out any detail at all under the light of a single candle. Is this, your mansion? It is. Thank goodness. I was afraid it was deserted. I suspect you would have preferred it if the house were abandoned. Oh, not at all. I would be scared to death staying in this dark mansion all by myself. I'm sorry. No ill will intended, but I do think it could do with some light. That way you could see where you were walking, and I'm sure this room would look splendid illuminated. Not necessary. I make do perfectly well as things are. Giselle, hello. I am free this Wednesday and this Thursday and this Friday. She might be cursed. We gotta stay back just a little bit. Give us like 15 hours and I'll let you know. I'll give you the green light. Way better at voice acting than I am? Listen, I gotta tell you, that's true. That's true. How fucked up of me. You're so much more chivalrous than I. I would see a curse and I would take a step back. Way better at voice acting. John, you are a voice acting pioneer because of the guy in the suit of armor in The Good Life, where you pulled out the fucking, like, what was it? Was it a fucking thermos? And you did the whole thing, an empty Diet Pepsi can. You did the whole voice through an empty Diet Pepsi can, talking through a guy with a suit of armor. It was genius. It was absolutely, it was a true innovation in Twitch voice acting tech. I'm gonna talk to that guy just to do the bit again. It was so good. How can you see when it's so dark? I have an abundance of candles and oil for lamps. I am not in want of means of creating light. It is not your place to criticize my lifestyle. If you need light, you are free to leave. If you are in need of money, help yourself to some of the furniture. There's a village not far from here. Trade it for food, then make your way to a larger town. I'm no longer able to freely return to the city. I cannot go back there. Please, don't chase me out. I see. And do you ask this of me aware of how people refer to this mansion? They say that a witch lives here. So this is, remember between door 2 and door 3, before we met Jacopo, and we passed by that mirror, and that mirror like gave us a glimpse of like foreshadowing some story in the future. This is that. We saw ourselves in a mirror, and we saw a glimpse of the real. This is door 5, Nancy. Us, whoever we are, if we're Michelle or whoever we are, and the maid fell into the darkness, and the true door 5 revealed itself. Right. You've seen everything that we've seen from that mirror a couple episodes ago. A cursed witch. If you remain here, you too shall likely suffer your own destruction. You're worried for my well-being? Witch or not, my mind is made up. I was sent to this cursed witch's mansion to atone for my transgressions back in the city. It didn't matter what lived here, I had no choice. Which will strike you first, I wonder? Regret or the curse? You seem to be doing just fine. It's only a tale. The witch is real. Very much so. It's not a legend, nor a fairy tale. The witch. The witch's name was Morgana. Right, we did learn all this. Is me. And that's where it cut out. So all of this is brand new. Sweet. Yes, that was our first encounter. It was nothing flowery or dramatic. It was rather laced with suspicion and wariness. We knew nothing about one another, and I had no interest in changing that. But nonetheless, that was where it all began, where my history with her commenced. The woman had jade eyes. Open wide, they glimmered like jewels in the light shining through the stained glass window. She seemed to be at a loss for words. I wasn't lying, per se. The rumors said a witch lived in this house, and I was the only one who filled that criteria. Thus, said rumors could be interpreted to be talking about me. After staring at me dumbfounded for a few moments, the woman suddenly burst into laughter.
Oh, wow! Here I was thinking you were kind of scary, and it turns out you're actually quite funny.
What?
I never would have guessed you were someone to tell such a ridiculous joke with a straight face.
I wasn't...
You don't look at all like a witch. I mean, it's dark and I can't really see, but you seem to me like a rather handsome man.
The word witch. The word witch has broader meaning than just a woman who practices magic. Any unholy person with cursed powers, man or woman, can be considered a witch.
I think I get what you're trying to say, but my mental image of a witch is definitely more a woman. So you're not a witch. To tell you the truth, I didn't know who might be here, which had me rather scared. But I think I can make this work.
What do you...
It's a pleasure to meet you, Master.
Master?
I was sent here from your old home. I was an Abigail for your mother, but, well, I might have made a little goof.
I froze the moment the word left her mouth. Home. It rattled around in my skull, shaking up terrible memories that almost brought me to my knees. Why, after all these years, were they reaching out to me now? And not even sending someone to bring me back, just sending someone. To what end? For what purpose had they shipped an Abigail out to this remote mansion? What was my mother thinking? Was this another one of her attempts to break my curse? What do you mean you made a little goof? My voice came out weak. I did my best not to let it show on my face.
It was, teeny tiny little oopsie whoopsie fucky wucky. Nothing you need to concern yourself with.
What did Mother say about me?
Well, it was actually your father who told me to come here. I never really spoke to your mother much.
Father sent you? That made even less sense. Why would he have... Did Father even know I was here? No, if he had known, I would have been... Who was this woman? What was her goal in asking to stay here?
Well, there you have it. I'll be here for a while. If you need me for anything, do not hesitate to ask. I'm confident I can handle most everyday tasks. Now, where should I begin? Oh, I know. Are you hungry, Master? Food. I can't imagine you eat much being as skinny as you are.
I turned my back on her without responding. No matter what her goal was, she had been sent from that house. There was no way anything good could come of that, and there was no way I could live with someone who had ties to them. I prayed she would take the hint, give up, and leave.
Master?
And so I kept ignoring her.
Master! Master!
I ignored.
Master!
I ignored her.
Master, what would you like for supper?
Nothing. But failed, spinning back and shouting. Her eyes went wide, and then she gave a sheepish giggle. I glared at her as she fidgeted uncomfortably. Eating's one of the most basic human needs, so if you're hungry, you should really eat. I said I didn't want. What was that sound? Must you ask? It's not a very polite thing to ask a lady, you know. Huh? It was a long trip and all I had to eat on the road was dried fruit. I felt like I was some kind of animal. So, what I'm trying to say is that I'm hungry. That wasn't the sound of her stomach growling, was it? I thought lightning had struck in the distance. And would like some supper? The kitchen is at the far end of the hall on the first floor. There's food in the cellar. Help yourself to any of it. Thank you so much. I honestly feel like I haven't eaten in days and I'm about to die of starvation. Oh, and I shouldn't need any help finding it. I plan on exploring the house anyway. It's rather exciting being in a new place. Damn it. That did not go as planned. Ah, well. She can do as she pleases. I'll have nothing to do with it. Oh, Master, are you sure you don't... No. Master. What is it now? My name is Giselle. It's a pleasure to meet you. And your name, Oh, Master, you... I actually left the room that time, making my way back to my chambers. At some point, I would seriously have to chase her out. He's moody. He's a little moody little Marty. Especially considering she had come from that house. But regardless, I was not terribly fond of her. I've grated some cucumber for you. We found an old turnip in the fridge. There should be leftover Halloween candy from the year before. Top shelf in the front closet. I didn't really understand Michelle, but that was probably because we were still essentially strangers. Having been sent to the mansion as reparation for my mistakes, I wasn't sure who I might find there. But I was tentatively convinced he wasn't a terrible person. He didn't do anything to me except stay away. Michelle spent most of his time in his chambers, which he told me to never enter under any circumstances, so we rarely encountered one another in the halls. For that reason, I made an effort to be kind and cheerful on the sporadic occasions we did cross paths. Me too, Nancy. And candy pumpkins, too. I need to get another thing of candy pumpkins this year. I figured if I kept that up long enough, he would eventually warm up to me. And as new housemates, being able to enjoy our time together was obviously preferable to the alternative. If I did manage to break the ice, I hoped we would be able to do some talking about the mansion, about him, about me. I just had to keep working at it. Michelle didn't need me to take care of him. He handled his own day-to-day needs and activities by himself, and in fact, he didn't ask me for anything. An aristocrat who had no use for his servant. I hadn't met anyone like him before. All right then. That meant about all I could do was clean. I wasn't sure how his room looked, but the rest of the house was, quite frankly, an absolute disaster. The dust was so heavy it was obvious it hadn't been touched in years. Well, let's get started. It couldn't be healthy to live in these conditions, so I set out to clean each room in the house, one by one. That said, it wasn't going to be an easy task. Not because I was bad at cleaning, in fact, I considered myself quite good at it. But perhaps it was near impossible to find all the dust and grime that needed cleaning under the flickering light of a candle. I can't understand how anyone sane can live in this dark. What's wrong with him? Maybe he's actually a vampire. Castlevania starting on Wednesday. Castlevania, Dracula X, Akuma no Jo. Starting Wednesday. Vampire. Oh God, wouldn't that be something? I can see it now. Him sneaking out every night to suck up the blood of pretty girls. Priceless. Ugh, That means I'm in trouble. Oh, look at me, Miss One-Woman Comedy Show here. Yep. If I'm able to get him to warm up to me, though, maybe that'll give me a little more room to make some changes. Like opening some windows. No light and no fresh air? No thank you. Anyway, I set the candlestick down, pulled over a chair to stand on, and started wiping down the shelf. The chair's legs seemed to be uneven, as it wobbled slightly beneath me. So many books! I wondered if they all even belonged to him? I knew parchment was expensive, so it was rather astonishing seeing this many stacks of it in one place. There were even some books with bulky, extravagantly decorated covers. He does come from an esteemed family. I'd spent enough time at his family's home. It was a constant bustle of servants and guests, the exact opposite of what this mansion was like. Why had he left his home? What had he done to be sent all the way out here, to this remote mansion with a less than savory reputation? Need to be careful not to overstep my bounds. I'm a servant now. A servant. But once the thought had crossed my mind, I couldn't get it out. I'd always had a bad tendency to chase my curiosities as soon as they struck, pushing to scratch the itch no matter how much my actions annoyed others. I couldn't do that here, though. I was simply a servant, and if I got on Michelle's bad side, I risked getting thrown out. I wonder what kind of books he's got in here. So I attempted to distract myself. I grabbed one of the books and attempted to pull it out. What? But the strings binding the parchment must have gotten tangled at the back. Whoa! Because the books on either side tilted back with it. Ah! And then the entire row came crashing down on top of me. Oh, for cripe's sake! I had fallen off the chair and a downpour of books was still coming down on me. A mountain of dust with it. Seriously? What are you doing? What? Suddenly, Michelle was there, looking down on me from a little ways away. There was, as usual, not much I could read from his expression, but I could hear a vague trace of exasperation in his voice. I was doing some cleaning and... Impressive work. I'm usually better than this. It's just so dark. Mistakes should be expected. I really think we should open up some windows, Master. Get some light, some air flowing through here. I never asked you to clean anything. You did this entirely yourself. But there's so much dust. It can't be good for you. I'm perfectly healthy. I don't see the problem. Had he even seen himself? No way someone that skinny was perfectly healthy. You look like you have something to say. He can make out my face in this darkness? I want it to be useful, and cleaning is about all I can do here, so, I was sensing something else, but all right. He let out a sigh, stepped over towards the pile of books, and then reached his hand down for me. Ah! I suddenly felt a pang of embarrassment about the fact that I was still splayed out on the floor, but I raised my hand up to take his, only for him to pick up a book instead. You could at least help me up. You have legs, he said, casually returning the book to the top shelf. Maybe I was wrong. Maybe he was a terrible person. So, Master, are all these books yours? Giselle asked, not a trace of remorse visible on her face, despite having made a mess of the room she was supposedly trying to clean. I gave a curt nod. Really? That's impressive. Must have been hard work getting them all in here, huh? There's gotta be 100 books here. You could fill a whole carriage at least. Huh, it's like you got your own personal library. She'd been pouting only a few moments earlier, but her smile was back in short order. Her jade eyes were like little balls of curiosity, glittering in the faint candlelight. I was not particularly fond of overly expressive, rather, overly curious women. Did they not care that they trampled uninvited into other people's personal spaces? Or were they not even aware that their actions were invasive? I averted my gaze from hers. I received roughly one every month. Ah, I see. Wait. She turned back towards the shelves. I presumed she understood the implications of what I had just said, of the fact that there were nearly 100 tomes here, and I received only one a month. Huh. Giselle fell silent. I couldn't blame her if she thought my circumstances, or my family, or my life bizarre. But I didn't care what she thought of me. In fact, it was to my advantage for her to be uncomfortable. I just needed her to stay quiet and keep her nose out of my business. There's more than I thought. I said not to her, but to myself. I had no reason to count the passage of time anymore. Only the books served as a record of how long I had been here. 121. What? There are 121 books. 10 years and 1 month. You were counting? I thought she had just sheepishly gone quiet. What an inscrutable woman. You've been here in the mansion for that long? All by yourself? The truth was, there had been times when I wasn't alone. But Giselle had no need to know that. You already know the answer. A look of pity formed in Giselle's eyes. Enough. I never asked for her sympathy. I am here by choice. You mean you weren't banished here? No restraint, this woman. No, I came here of my own volition. I didn't care enough to elaborate, though. Picking another book up off the floor, I brushed the dust off its cover. It was a gaudily decorated tome. That's a very fancy book, isn't it? But apparently, Giselle was unable to take a hint. What's it about? I let out a sigh and opened to no page in particular, sticking the book out toward her. She was a servant and a woman. There was no way she could read. Let's see here. This land is hardly suitable for cultivation. It can only produce over sour grapes. I would probably get more out of it if I tore down the fields and made it into a market. Sounds like a lord's diary. You can read? I was caught slightly off guard. It was rare for a noblewoman to be able to read and write, let alone a servant. Was she truly what she claimed to be? I had someone to teach me. So, is this book any interesting? It's dull, worthless tripe. I can't imagine why anyone thought it would be worth binding. Tough crowd. But it's not very often you get to see a lord's diary. I'm rather curious what kinds of things he griped about. Lord or king, what value was there in another's grumbling? There was no knowledge contained within that book. Just emotions. Unsightly scribbles. And there was nothing more exhausting in this world than being emotional. If you want to read it, be my guest. That wasn't my intention, but all right. Once I've got the whole mansion cleaned, I'll read it. I told you, you don't have to clean. Oh, I've got an idea, Master. If you're interested, maybe we could read together. Did you hear a word I just said? It's dull, worthless tripe. Still, you might see it differently if you read it with someone else. And I'm sure there are some books here you would enjoy, Master. You're wasting your time. The suspicion and restraint budding between us was trite and insignificant at that point. This guy loves the word trite. She was still smiling, after all. If I had been able to maintain that distance, then perhaps I wouldn't have ended up hurting her. He loves that word, Draconics. Oh, Draconics, unfortunately, I was just reminded of the fact that Final Fantasy is now over, and with it, I have to unceremoniously take away your VIP. I hope you enjoyed your time while you had it. Everybody, welcome salute to Draconics for no longer selected the Final Fantasy playthrough. The VIP has been taken. Till next time. Till next time, Draconics. Till the next win. It could happen to you as well. It had been a little under 2 weeks since I had moved in with Michelle. Though we lived in the same house, we rarely saw each other. On unlucky days, I wouldn't see him at all. I wasn't sure if he ate in his room or our schedules were simply misaligned, but we never had any meals together. It was worth it. It was worth it. Perhaps he was deliberately avoiding me. This has to be it. I know servant and master don't usually eat at the same table, but even so, he could be a little less obvious about it. Am I really that much of a nuisance? I'm not doing anything inappropriate, am I? I'm being pleasant and sociable, aren't I? I haven't given him any reason to not like me. I think. I hope. He had never been very enthusiastic about my staying here, but I hadn't been given a choice. I'd been sent here by his family. Besides... No, out with the negative thoughts. Gotta stay positive. Yeah, he hasn't tried to chase me out yet. I haven't broken the ice. I had to stay positive, optimistic, happy thoughts, and be myself. As long as I kept working at it with enough time, Michelle would surely come around and not be so distant. I've got a goal, so let's get to work. First, I make supper, then I ask him to have it with me. Gotta be proactive when it comes to those reclusive types. All right, here goes. Or here would go. But we're almost out of supplies. Well, so much for that. The cellar was where the non-perishable food was stored. Dried foods, smoked meats, cheeses, small scattering of root vegetables. Just old turnips down here. Looking at all this makes me feel like a soldier holding down a castle's fortifications. Had Michelle really gone 10 years on nothing but this? I would have raised the white flag long ago. He said he hadn't left the mansion at all in those 10 years. I assume he at least goes out to get supplies, right? Running out of food is kind of a life or death matter. I can't believe he hasn't set foot outside even once, and... What are you babbling on about? Whoa! Oh no, he overheard me. I assumed you were talking to someone. Huh? Does anyone else live here, Master? I haven't seen anyone. It's just the two of us. Alive, anyway. You mean there are ghosts? Something of the sort. There you go again with the jokes. Listen, I'm not a child. You're not going to trick me with that. There are adults who believe in such things. I suppose, but I don't really believe in ghosts or demons or curses or any of that. The church just tries to convince people they're real so they can squeeze more money out of them. Am I going to have to turn you over to the church, you blasphemer? No. Hey, I pray every day. Honest. I don't particularly care either way. I'm returning to my chambers. Wait, what? Already? You didn't come down for food? I only came down because I heard voices. A moment, please just wait a second. What? Our stores are almost empty. What do you normally do when you need food? I'll happily accompany you on a trip to the market. Already? That was fast. There are two of us. I really don't eat that much, do I? In the dim light, it was difficult to make out Michelle's expression, but I thought I could see a tinge of annoyance on his face. Hold your ground, Giselle. You said you wanted to get closer to him. Is that a parsnip? Michelle was holding a tangled ball of roots. The reason I asked was because the parsnip looked like it was on the verge of total decomposition. See? There's still food. He then handed it to me. Wait! You want me to eat that? It's clearly seen better days. You're gonna get sick. Or are you telling me you can survive on rotten vegetables? Of course I won't eat it. I just figured you were hardy enough to survive. What do you think I am? No, he is definitely a jerk. Or that resulting diarrhea might reduce your appetite. Look at this guy dropping diarrhea jokes. Day 2. You're kidding, right? You can't be serious. Anyway, we should bury that outside. Then we can go purchase fresh supplies. I told you, I don't go outside. Then how do you... Huh? A visitor? Who could it be? Perfect timing. You're a servant. Make yourself useful and go retrieve the package. If it's not a delivery, but a wanderer, chase them off. What? Package? Master? Hold on a second. What are you talking about? Oh, he's gone. What kind of delivery is he expecting? Michel stood there, unmoving, veiled in shadow. He glanced over at me, then threw his gaze to the front door. Huh? At his command, I raised the bar, pulling open the door. After nearly 2 weeks inside, the light from the setting sun almost blinded me. The world went white, my head pounding. After a few moments of intense blinking, my eyes acclimated themselves to the evening sunlight. There was no one outside, only a crate, easily large enough to fit a child. Is this the package? Master? I turned back to face Michel, but he wouldn't meet my eyes, though it seemed more like he was avoiding looking at the light than at me. He's starting to seem more and more like a vampire. Not that I believe in vampires, of course. Regardless, I pray there's nothing bad in here. Ugh, that's heavy. Master, could I get some help? Gee, thanks. I'm a servant, admittedly, but this is a lot to ask of just one girl. A little help would sure be nice. Once it's inside, close and bar the door. He said dispassionately, his head still turned toward the darkness. As you wish, Master. Once the door was shut, I found myself sucked back into a world of darkness. Hello! Hello! Hold on! Hello! Oh my gosh! Wow! Let me put on some music or something here. Let's just, you know what? This may cause people that regularly hears ears perk up, but this is a celebration. And for that, we gotta play the celebratory music. What's up, Manic Socratic? Party of 28? Valkyrie, Kibu, Panic Sloth, Kilgore, Bergeron, Hogue Like Woe, Phoenix Zombie, Hambelina, Tsunami Sam. Oh my gosh. Hi, everybody. Crimson Blade, Slightly Sultry. What's up, everybody? What's up, Manic? Manic, how you doing? What were you playing? Kingdom Hearts, of course. How's the Kingdom Hearts playing coming along? Welcome in, everybody. Hey, I love Manic. You love Manic. My chat, if you don't know Manic, go follow Manic. It's as easy as that. Kingdom Hearts is great, but the Little Mermaid section is rough. Yeah, baby. Yeah, it is. Hope your evening's going well. Our evening is going very, very, very well. To everybody that's not familiar with me, I'm GoatedQuest. I'm a fan of Manic. Manic and I, have similar levels of deep appreciation for, games as a medium and the stories that they can tell and the experiences they can provide. I stream 4 nights a week over here on twitch.tv/GoatedQuest, and every game I play on this channel is a first playthrough. This week, we beat 2 games, Clive Barker's Undying, as well as the first Final Fantasy on the NES. And the way that this channel works is that when I beat a game on the channel, I have to select a new game, but the selection process, as opposed to Manic, right? The opposite of Manic. What Manic does, Manic really pours over game selection process and establishes a theme and makes sure everything works perfectly and sets up, like, the dominoes are perfectly stacked before that playthrough starts. The game selection process is an art form. For me, it is artful chaos. We use marbles on stream here to select playthroughs on this channel. So, my dude, I'm loving the way you're describing us. Hey, I can say some words sometimes. Every game we choose on this channel is decided through marbles on stream. You know, the thing that you might see when a streamer like has some time to kill and needs 15 minutes before the stream ends and says like, let's just do marbles. I load every game from a select genre from my master list into marbles on stream, and whatever wins that marble race is my next playthrough. So yeah, Hambelina, Clive Barker's Undying, released Valentine's Day 2001, a horror FPS. Listen, if you guys are fans of Half-Life, BioShock, any of those action-adventure, first-person shoot, Resident Evil Village, Undying is brilliant. You played Undying when it came out? Robert, it's brilliant, isn't it? Thank you so much for the follow, Valkyrie. Thank you. Thank you. One of the first Unreal Engine licenses. That's true. That's true. Dude, I loved Clive Barker's Undying. I watched Hellraiser. I downloaded a book of short stories on my iPad. So I gotta tell you, we are starting 2 games next week. And I have one of them here on this schedule that I can pull up for you, but one of them's not quite ready yet. Give me 1 second, because I'm very excited for these. One of them you may have already seen. We rolled it on Thursday, and the next full playthrough on the channel is 2014's Alien Isolation, which I have heard nothing but incredible things about. Like, an ceaseless amount of incredible things, and like, you know, cries that the critics got it wrong and whatever else, and just the way that it handles tension and fear and so comfortably slips into the shoes of Ridley Scott's Alien. I am unbelievably excited to start that playthrough on the channel. That'll be Tuesday. That will be Tuesday and Thursday. And we just rolled today, and I'm here making this like last minute on the schedule so that you guys can see it. Give me 1 sec, because I'm pretty excited about it. Let me go here. Let me go here. Let me go here, here, here. Stand by. And then we get rid of this. And then we get rid of this. And then we get rid of this. And then we export this. And then we go 1017. And then I go like this. And then I go like this. And then I go like this. Just rolled tonight. Konami's 1986, 7? I think it was 1986 on the Famicom Disk System in Japan, and then 1987 cartridge release in the United States. Castlevania, baby. We rolled Castlevania. Insane. Interesting note, it was made by the same team that made Trespasser and Stranglehold, DreamWorks Interactive. Undying imported all their levels from Video Studio Max instead of Unreal ED. Yes. Robert, every single playthrough I do on this channel, we start with a prep kit where I dive deep into the development history of the game. I pull any sort of marketing information I can find about the game, any sort of things like that. And so yes, DreamWorks Interactive, they made that Lost World game. I've got Unreal ED2. And then right in the late stage of development, got acquired by EA because of the publishing partnership that EA had with DreamWorks Interactive at the time, became EA Los Angeles, and then lost all of their marketing budget because EA was scared of fucking violence in video games in the early 2000s. Sad story. Sad story. Yes, next week, Alien Isolation, Castlevania. We're continuing the house in Fata Morgana here. I think that I had that set as episode 8, and this is actually supposed to be episode 7, maybe? I actually don't know. Yes, this is supposed to be 7 this whole time. Oops. Tonight we're playing the house in Fata Morgana. So, it's a fucking powerful schedule. It's a powerful schedule. My thumb's acting just thinking about it. Hey, thank you so much for the raid. Manic, thank you so much. Anybody that's coming in from the raid, we are in the midst of the house in Fata Morgana. We were just wrapping up. We were truly just wrapping up. I like to go until 11 p.m. I go 6 to 11 on weekdays and 8 to 11 on weekends. And so we're going to get to a stopping point here. And then I would be more than honored if anybody coming in from this raid would stick around and maybe hang out for a little bit and follow this raid train somewhere new. You never know where it might take you. You may find your new favorite content creator if you haven't already. But hey, let me finish this up, all right? Manic, thank you so much. Everybody else, thank you so much for coming in on the raid. Thank you, Valkyrie, for the follow. Let's finish this up, wrap things up for the evening, and then we'll move right along. All right, everybody, here we go. Once the door was shut, I found myself sucked back into a world of darkness. It hadn't even been 2 weeks, but the lack of light was beginning to become my normal. The outside world growing farther and farther away. Being holed up in here is definitely not good for me. I should go for a walk sometime. Maybe plant some flowers or vegetables. Yeah, I like that idea. Maybe I can grow that old tangle of roots into some fresh parsnip. What else do we have to plant? It'd be great if there were some flower seeds. What are you doing? Open the box. Now. As you wish, master. Oh, there's food inside. In the box was a burlap sack filled with berries, root vegetables, and smoked meats, as well as an assortment of bread, fruits, and wine. Aside from the fruit and bread, everything else was the same as what Michelle kept in the cellar. And buried beneath the burlap sack was a single book. 1 book a month. He really hasn't gone outside in 10 years. It appears you have begun to grasp the situation. Yeah, but why? This was delivered by someone from your house, master, wasn't it? A servant, I assume. Why would they leave without saying anything? No one wants to talk to a cursed man. In the past, they would occasionally check in on me, but that hasn't happened recently. They think you're cursed? Ha, right. You don't believe in curses. Then come up with your own explanation. An excuse for them to want to stay away from me. That, for example, I killed someone. Or maybe that I'm insane. I couldn't. Regardless, I'm not normal. Bring the food down to the cellar, the book to the library. You are, of course, free to refuse and run back off into the woods. I'll do it. All right. Then you take care of that. Hey. What is it? I just noticed there's something else in here. It's wrapped in cloth. What could it be? Ooh, a painting. For you to hang up somewhere in the house, I presume. It's so dark I can't see it very well, but I'm sure it's... Don't touch that. What? Michelle, who had kept his distance from me until that point, suddenly marched over and ripped the painting from my grasp. Master? His face was twisted into a look I had never seen him make before. Was it indignation? Disgust? Hatred? A manic panic? I couldn't tell, but there was more than enough negative pressure to cause me to flinch back. Is that painting perhaps, something important? A landscape painting. He muttered under his breath, the tension melting away from his face. I was left looking at his usual, blank, impenetrable expression. But his eyes were still fixated on the picture, staring at it, unblinkingly. Why a landscape painting? Some kind of passive-aggressive message? It's not of anywhere nearby. Did they travel somewhere? It's not of that girl, so that's an improvement. Master? Oh, you're still here. Yes, still here. Of course I'm still here. Who do you think asked to take care of the package? What's with you? Just running over and snatching the painting from me? You scared me. Could you maybe explain yourself? What's so special about that painting? I don't believe that's any of your business. None of my... Of course it is. You ripped it out of my hands like I was some kind of thief. I have a right to know what that was all about, and maybe an apology while you're at it. You told me to open the box, so I did, and all of a sudden you're angry? We are not equals. Do not mistake yourself for my friend. You have a right to know you have no such thing. You don't have to be rude. I'll say it again. Leave if you don't like it here. I never asked for you to be here. That was your wish. My wish? Are you out of your mind? I never asked for this. I never wished for it. Who in their right mind would want to be sent to some house in the middle of nowhere? Who would ever want to go through that? Ugh. No, calm down, Giselle. You can't get angry. You're right. This is what I wanted, but I never wanted to make you mad or for us to argue like this. I just wanted to get to know you better, to get closer to you. I mean, it would make things smoother for the both of us. It would make living together more enjoyable for us. Listen carefully. This is very important for you to understand. Do not try to involve yourself with me. Do not go probing around for information. And if you can't do that, leave. I completely shut out. The glare he was giving me and the standoffish aura he was emanating were reflected in the tone of his voice. Why? Why did he try to push me away like that? It seemed Giselle really didn't know much about me. Despite being sent here from my house, she was unaware of the monthly deliveries, as well as the reason why I lived in the mansion all by myself. Why, though, would they have not told her anything? Why had she been sent here, left completely in the dark? Giselle looked up at me, fear and bewilderment in her eyes, though I thought I could see a glint of suspicion beneath it all. Like her true feelings were bubbling to the surface. Everyone had darkness in them they kept hidden. No one was exactly who they appeared to be. She was undoubtedly thinking, I'm not here because I want to be. I knew from the moment I first saw her that her bubbly, sweet effect was all a facade. Had she thought I was dense enough to not realize? She was no different than anyone else. What I didn't understand, though, was why she refused to leave no matter how hard I pushed. What was she hiding beneath that innocent-looking face? What was she thinking? What did she carry on her shoulders? Everyone is hiding something, deceiving those around them. I had to figure out what she really was. May I ask you something? Yes. On the day you arrived, you said you made a teeny tiny little oopsie whoopsie fucky wucky while working at my family's house? Tell me about that. What did you do at the Bollinger estate? In that moment, brief though it was, her disposition wavered. Fear? Terror? No, perhaps anger. I couldn't tell. Nevertheless, it was abundantly clear that that was a subject she had no interest in me breaching. And so she had borne her fangs. The smile she donned now was visibly forced. It's nothing you need to concern yourself with, Master. I promise. It was an insignificant little thing. She couldn't say. Why couldn't she tell me? What had she done there? What did this woman know about that house? What did she know about me? What was concealed beneath that smile of hers? I am the master of this house, and you are a servant. And still you refuse to tell me? Like I said, it's nothing. There's no reason to bother you with a mere servant's personal blunders, Master. What are you hiding? I'm not hiding anything. Then you should be able to tell me exactly what you did at the Bollinger estate. Like I said. Tell me. Tell me. You You won't tell me a thing about yourself, and yet you demand others tell you about themselves? Here you are, practically threatening me, demanding I tell you something I don't want to talk about, and yet you still haven't told me anything about the painting. So I was right. You do have something to hide. How many times must I repeat myself? We are not equals. I don't care if it's insignificant or something you don't want to talk about. I'm ordering you to tell me. A trifling blunder would not get someone sent to live with a cursed man in a house spoken of so unfavorably. Whatever she had done at the Bollinger estate, that had something to do with why she was here. If she truly hadn't done anything, then she had something to gain from this place, or possibly from me. And if that was the case, I had to get her to talk. Make me... Giselle's eyes were open wide. I recognized the look she was giving me. I knew very well what that gaze meant. You're an abomination. It was the same as them. Fear, contempt, revulsion, repulsion. The way she acted, the way she spoke, it was exactly the same. You're no different. I made her uncomfortable. I made her afraid. She thought I was unpleasant. She thought I was despicable. She thought I was an abomination. In a frenzy, I grabbed her by the shoulders, clamping down far more powerfully than I had meant to. Ow, stop! Her face, contorted in pain, morphed into someone else's. Who was I directing my anger at? Where was this rage being aimed? Who are you calling an abomination? What? Tell me, who? The black furor bubbling up from within me knew no end. The girl, she ridiculed me. She denied my identity with her glare. I couldn't escape from that phantom, that reality. What are you? I never called you a... Get away from me! Get your hands off of me! Giselle's scream echoed in the entrance hall, rattling my eardrums. She frantically smacked my arms aside, and then I came back to my senses. She was standing a little ways away, breathing heavily, arms wrapped tight around her body, glowering at me, showing her opposition to my touching her. Enlightening. No. You just, you startled me, that's all. Some servant you are, telling your master not to touch you. Oh, right, I have a, I'm allergic to people. It's a very unique condition, I hear. I mean, can you believe that? See, you know how some people get all red and itchy when you touch a dog or a cat? It's that, except it's for people, So, I'm sorry. I wasn't trying to be disrespectful. I beg your forgiveness. Why don't you speak your mind? What? This is what's going through your mind right now. I have nothing to apologize for. No, that's not... I can somewhat sympathize with your plight, being made to apologize even though you're hurting. I raised my hand against you first, after all. Then you forgive me? Sympathy does not equate to forgiveness. Now, you take care of the package. I'm heading back to my chambers. What is it? You're not gonna make me leave after what I just did? No, I'm not. For it would seem I can make you leave on your own whenever I so please. Besides, I had yet to learn what she had done. It would be exceedingly difficult to get the story from her own mouth, which left me with one option: to write a letter to my mother. As much as the very thought revolted me, that'll do it. We'll save right here. Boom. What a crazy, productive storytelling day. We learned a hell of a lot. Next week, we will continue with the house in Fata Morgana. But until then, that's where we're going to call it, folks. That's where we're going to call it.